Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the GLL Masters Spring for Apex Legends. I'm Nathanius, joined by Axel Toss, and we are here to kick off the finals for APAC South. You may remember us. We were doing APAC North earlier in the month, but we are back here and ready to get back into some action. There's been a lot of cool Apex news over the course of the month since the last time we saw you guys, but Axel Toss, how are you feeling today? Are you pumped up? You excited? We've got some more, hopefully, chaotic action ahead.
Yeah, this has been a really cool series. It's been a lot of fun. So I don't know if you guys in the chat were here when we did Asia Pacific North, but SKT1 kind of ran the table. It was pretty fun. Crazy Raccoons, obviously, up there as well. But it was really dynamic, really dynamic matches, really entertaining. I love the format here, which we're going to get into. This region is interesting. I wrote down the stats that were on Wikipedia. 38% Indonesian, 30% Thailand, 13% Australian, 8% Malaysia, and then India, Pacific, can't read my notes here, Singapore, Taiwan, and Hong Kong all represented with each one player each. So a lot of diversity here. And for fun, if you're in the chat right now, where are you from? Where do you hail from? Let us know. I'm curious because we have a very international player group. I'm sure the people watching, very international crowd as well. But good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Buckle up. It's going to be a lot of games today, and I'm excited.
Yeah, we've got our overview here. As you can see, we're going to be kicking things off this morning, or I guess it's quite early for us here in Europe. Nice, you're getting in the middle of your day. Maybe getting your lunch together. We've got Apex South to kick things off for you, of course. Then we'll be moving to the European matches, and then finally the North American matches. So if you're watching this right now, you're in good hands. You've got Apex Legends to watch literally all day long, okay? So cancel all your other Friday plans. You don't have anything else you need to do because this is our schedule. So if we're here, as we were saying, we're here for APAC South. We have 16 rounds to bring you guys. This is the tournament format, 16 rounds. Whoever has the most points at the end of those 16 rounds is going to win. So we've got 8 matches today, 8 matches tomorrow. If you were here for our earlier final series that we were doing with North, then you know the drill. We've got $100,000 total prize pool across all the GLL Masters Spring for APAC South. First place, $5,000. Nothing to scoff at, Axel Toss. And the point system on the right, you get 12 points for first place, goes down about 3, then 2, then 1 towards the end, and of course 1 point per kill. So this is not going to be like the Apex Legends Global Series in terms of scoring, if you're familiar with that. There is no ace point that you need to reach, and then you just win 1 match to take it all. It's just going to be 16 rounds of Apex, so it's a bit more of a marathon than a sprint. There's no early closeouts here, unless of course you find a way to just kill the entire lobby before the final circle. But that's pretty hard to do too, Axel Toss.
I mean, I love this point system. It's very close to Swiss, right? If you think about it from a tournament standpoint. Talk about single elimination, double elimination. Here, it's a flight of games. It's 8 rounds, and you're tested in each and every round. So it's really fun to see. Okay, who's going to rack up the kills? Who's gonna get first place? Who's gonna who's gonna start out hot and then fizzle off? Who's gonna be more consistent? And I believe if you're a player in these formats, you're gonna love it, because if you're a player, you want to play more games. You want to play more matches. That's how you show that you're better than everyone else. If it was just one drop and go, I mean, sure, that'd be fun, like a single limb bracket. No, we have 8 matches today, so 8 rounds, right? So I'm excited to see how that unfolds, and I really like that format. And I think more gameplay, the better.
Yeah, not going to complain about that, right? And as you said, with the way that the format works, of course, obviously you want to have as many opportunities as you can to win. If it was just one game, that would be terrible. And so here are the teams that we have that are going to be competing today. Axel Toss, I've got my eyes on Grape. They were the ALGS Winter Circuit playoff winner for APAC South, but in semifinal 2, they actually came in 6th place, so kind of scraping by to get through here. They only had 1 round win, total of 92 points in their semifinal bracket to get here. So they've had success. They took that giant prize, that first place in APAC South but now they're coming in here not quite as hot as they were before, trying to catch up to teams like Team EXO, who made it in with 5 match wins to get here, 169 points. So almost a 70-point difference there from the team that was first in all of the semifinals to make it here. So some stiff competition, and I'm excited to see if anybody's going to really set themselves apart. When we were doing APAC North, even though T1 ended up coming out on top, they had a bit of a slow start in the first day. So we could see something like that where everybody's kind of in the middle of the pack by the end of today's games, and we don't really get to set anybody apart until tomorrow. But that's going to be, I think, the biggest thing to keep our eyes on, because when we were doing APAC North as well, worth mentioning, we had a different team win basically every single round on the first day. Almost nobody picked up 2 rounds. So is it going to be spread out? Is one team going to dominate? These are the questions that have me excited for today's show.
Yeah, based on the semifinal, EXO kind of ran away with it. They had a really good day, clearly. But as you said, Team Grape has found success previously. So maybe it's between EXO and Grape. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the chat. Our previous region was kind of diverse. It came down to the final match and the final round, and it was very close all the way through. And by the way, looking at Grape's roster, Bunny Hop, oh man, someone might have to help me with the name there. Kizix and Big Z hail from Malaysia, Thailand, and Indonesia, respectively. So that's pretty cool. One of the multi-team, multicultural, multi-country teams going on there. So yeah, dude, here we go. Let's go. I'm excited to see this unfold. Let's get it. I'm excited to get into the rounds here. And again, we have a lot of rounds. So I would say one thing: don't count anyone out. There's definitely room to bring it back, and I think you can think of you can kind of split the day in half, and maybe the teams are doing this too, where they're like, okay, really got to focus. If you don't have a good first half, really try to turn that around and have a great second half of the day, right? So there's room for those momentum swings for different teams to try to really rack up a lot of points. Something else to look out for: we had some moments where teams would just wipe the lobby. Literally, they were taking down almost every other team, right? Racking up the kills and racking up the points. I would look out for one of these teams to try to do something like that, and really just try to, that could be obviously a great way to ensure yourself a high spot on that leaderboard.
Yeah, and like you said, the most important thing is we have 8 matches today, and there's 8 matches tomorrow for the grand final. So theoretically, you could totally bomb out today,
right, and
then win like 5 rounds tomorrow. You go Super Saiyan. I don't know, whatever it is that you're doing. You've got your glacial water. Almost too pure. You're playing out of your mind. You can always make that comeback happen. We had some teams start off slow before, and we've seen them kind of come back. Obviously, when we talk about APAC North, well, T1 obviously was the team that ended up being like, yeah, we only got 1 win on day 1, but day 2 turned into 3, 4, and things just kind of became impossible for everybody else. But despite that, there were still about 3 or 4 teams within 10 points of each other in that second to last round. So Axeltoss, all that tells me is we're setting ourselves up for the potential for anything to happen. Even the teams that you might rate up to be that kind of level where you're like, oh yeah, I think these guys are way better than everybody else. That's the thing about Battle Royale. Anything can happen at any given time. And just speaking of that, as we wait for today's matches to get underway, there's been a lot of news, stuff coming out from Apex Legends, from Respawn recently that have me excited, because it's like, yes, this tournament is awesome, but also in a week the game's gonna be totally different, man. We're gonna have the new season, we're gonna have Valkyrie. I'm super excited to see that. I was watching the reveal, of course. They were showing off the kit. I'm like, man, I can have a jetpack, so I can play. I can get a little Buzz Lightyear action going in my Apex Legends. That's all I've ever wanted. Axeltoss, I just want to fly around and shoot rockets everywhere.
I know everyone's looking forward to that. Some people might be like, why don't they just switch this tournament over and run it with the new
in the middle
somehow
of the tournament?
Yeah, I'm sure there's some people who would love to see that. Yeah, dude, it's exciting. I think one thing that, obviously us being in esports for so long, seeing the diversity in the kind of the esports, or the kind of the formats we're seeing in the games, it's going to be interesting to see this arena mode come out and what
Oh,
Respawn is able to do with that. We might be commentating that one day, right? Like that could be its own little sphere within competition. So that could be interesting. And obviously the compound bow, I'm pretty excited about that.
Oh yeah. Oh, I like. Well, I know that I'll be excited to see my teammates use it. You know, when
Yeah,
teammates
dude,
that
we'll
I
squad
know
up
that are
and
good.
I'll handle that bow. We'll squad
Okay.
up and we'll take care of business.
My strategy is to wait for arenas to drop and hope that they don't do like specific, legend tuning for it, so that I can just walk in and use that small enclosed space with caustic. You know what I mean? Instead of getting picked off from 500
Dude.
meters away because of how
Caustic likes
chunky you
arena.
are.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Caustic
Exactly.
can be very effective. He's all about the closed parameters. That's why sometimes we see him in competitive matches, because the end circle, so that end ring is so important. Such a small amount of space. So yeah, Mr. Nathanius, you might have a blooming esports career in front of you.
I'm excited about that. The arenas looks dope. I'm super stoked for that. I hope that that's something. Even the worst case scenario for me is that when I'm playing Apex and you come in, you're like, oh, you want to practice, you're worried about getting killed, you don't want to use the training range all the time because you don't have somebody to actually try to get into a fight with in there. The worst case scenario, arenas is just going to be really good combat training, right? You can kind of get through more team fight sort of situations and get the practice with the aiming and whatnot. There's so many different ways that's going to be used. As we're just waiting to get ready to match number 1 here, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching the GLL Masters Spring, and very, very excited. Very excited, man. It's just a good time to be a fan of Apex Legends, because while this season comes to an end and we had some cool moments, there's also going to be some pretty big switch ups with some of the legends they were talking about. I believe the patch notes are actually already out for the new season. They've been kind of talking about some of the things they're going to be changing. I think some ramping down on the mobility for Horizon. Not super surprising. Last time we were casting Apex here for North, it was kind of a Horizon fiesta. It was like everybody just had a Horizon, Gibraltar. Sorry, I'm starting to combine all the words together now. And it was just absolute chaos. So things are going to get shook up in that way. And that, keeping that freshness, that tuning is, I think, one of the things that just kind of keeps the game interesting.
As long as we don't get back to like what Call of Duty was, or like, what we were trying to get away from with BR. It's kind of funny if it goes full circle and like Apex turns into one of these respawn shooters as a mode in the game. That would be pretty funny. But I like they have that economic system too. We are about to get into the game, folks, but this is fun to kind of talk about, and let us know your thoughts in the chat before we get into these games. But like, they have that economic system that they're developing in the new mode that we've seen in some other games. So that's really interesting. And I agree with you on the fact, like, when you're trying to grind a game, a BR can be pretty brutal. So just the opportunity to play the game in a different mode where it's easier to kind of queue and easier to kind of play it over and over again. That's a lot of people are going to enjoy that. So yeah, dude, a lot to look forward to there, and I'm looking forward to the games today too.
Oh yeah, should be a lot of fun. Should be good times. I think one of the other things they're gonna bring back is being able to just find the Peacekeeper normally, so we can all go back to that wonderful time. We'll see if the EVA 8s remain popular today with the Spitfires. We haven't seen the same sort of level of catastrophic changes being made, of course, in preparation for the new season. If you have something about this meta that you're not a super big fan of, it's probably going to be different in some way or another come around this time at the end of next week, right? So there's going to be lots of cool things to look forward to. And yes, very, very nice. As we're still just waiting for the confirmation of the first match beginning, guys. So thanks for bearing with us, as it's nice and early over here, about 4 in the morning over here on the West Coast in America. And it looks like we are ready to get things started. How about that? All right. I raised my hand to the sky, and my prayers have been answered. We are ready to get going, Axel Toss. Following Team Exile.
Yeah, and I was gonna, a question I was gonna ask coming into this is, what kind of drop patterns are we gonna see? with previous regions, we've seen teams pretty much land in the same spot. So I'm interested to see if that's going to happen here. And it very well may happen, and that's just fine. As we take a look at EXO, this is the team to watch here, the team of Australians. I want to hear the fans of this team in the chat. I know we asked about where people were from a little earlier, and definitely saw some Aussies in the chat. So let us know if you're rooting for that squad, the team of Aussies. Team EXO, they ran the table in the qualifiers, so certainly a favorite here today. And now we see all the teams dispersed across World's Edge, a map we are quite familiar with, Nathanius.
Oh yeah, it's been a good little bit here, right? With the World Edge games that we've had. You were talking about where teams are going to drop. I think one of the interesting things about bringing in that variety, if you're not familiar with scrimming against some of these other guys, you may not know 100% of where they are all going to drop. Of course, that comes into your tournament prep, and from the semifinals, you gained a bit of that information as well. But I'm interested to see if they're going to continue to hold these patterns throughout the games. That's something that we do generally see at the pro level. People will stick with these. As you're saying, EXO landed up on Skyhook. We can see that this is going to be a harvester circle, though. Very late game wise, so everyone's going to get pulled into that center. A lot of those choke points where we're seeing those locks by if you're going through the tunnels, if you're coming around by the train tracks, you might find yourself getting third partied or picked off. So lots of action when you get a center circle. I always love seeing these, and even on that very top end of the map, you're going to have to run in a little bit. Of course, there's still plenty of time, but the I think changes over the last year with like the circle and just level at round 6, it just closes and kills everybody. I think have done a really good job for that pacing. But I'm looking at ATH and Wolfpack up on that northwest side really bump into each other, as I'm not seeing too many other teams that are getting in that close of a proximity right now.
I'm laughing because of this circle. I really like it. I mean, dude, it's centering right on this lava river, right? I mean, that's when we know we're in for a spicy match. We have this circle zoning in on this lava river. And I got to say, that's one of the spots when you first start playing the game or you're not familiar with the map, you can fall off to your demise. So we'll see what happens there. I'm excited for how this late game is going to unfold. But looks like everyone's staying respectful for now. Not too many skirmishes happening. 20 squads left. I mean, Nathan, in the last region, we saw the same two teams going at it like some gladiator fight every single time. Actually, it looks like we do have a fight potentially unfolding. I'm seeing a little bit of damage off of one of our teams here.
No, Lava City was a colossal nightmare for APAC North. Just an absolute bloodbath. I think they had multiple teams landing on that spot every single round as we've got our team tracker pulled up. Not too much has happened, though. You are correct, Axeltos. It's kind of been one of those more slow, methodical drops. Nobody really wanted to contest each other. And I do feel this worth pointing out. APAC North a bit more aggressive than some of the other regions. When you watch, especially if you're watching like American or European ALGS, you're going to see very methodical play, very rotation-focused play, a little less W key spam, a little more, slow play, flank, maneuvering type things. You're trying to make actual plays, things that you're drawing up rather than just kind of relying on the raw mechanics of everybody to just go into these big fights over and over. And it's possible as well, since this is the first game, that everybody's also just kind of getting their bearings. So I do expect the heat over here to get turned up as the rounds go on, as we are just in round 1 of 8 today. So plenty of Apex Legends action coming your way.
Yeah, it's fun too. The circle being, or the rink being so central. It can be a headache in Apex Legends if you're having to deal. Yeah, it can be a headache having to run all across the map and, the ring not working out for you. But it's hard to complain about a central location. So we'll have to see how this unfolds. Yeah, Tear Gas Warrior we're going with.
He went through the enemy team's portal. Always a risky move. It's you step into the void and you don't necessarily know if you're going to come out with solid ground underneath your feet. But a good play there by Yanis as he's able to get a frag there. And we switch over to Invade Esports. You see he's got the Bloodhound scan, giving a little vision for Saiyajin God as he shoots down over off that R301. He's got a level 2 mag, level 2 stabilizer, so decent control available for the weapon. Of course, the skill is going to be there too, but he's got a nice setup to put this pressure on. We talk about the high ground and all of those sorts of things. Your basic tactics are always going to be useful to have. But as far as compositions go, that Bloodhound, amazing for getting information, right? That scan, not walking into a trap, is always a good feeling. You want to make sure that you're getting as far into these games as possible for those placement points, but also you're trying to pick up these frags as Jag Cute loses about half of his shields, peeking in his R301. Very well kitted, however, decent amount of resources available, portal available, void run available here. And yes, the caustic. I was about to say that. The Nutsumu Sama caustic on Atham TH. Well, you know me. You know me, Axel Toss, and I'm going to be bugging our production to follow these guys probably more than we should today, just because they have that caustic. I want to see somebody get gassed here. I want to see somebody get closed in and boxed into a building and taken down in a terrifying fashion.
Yes, and you're the commentator, so what you say pretty much goes as we see this caustic getting involved in the action with the charge rifle. We'll get our fair share of Bloodhound plays. Of course, you're the caustic main, I'm the Bloodhound main. And that's got me thinking about that compound bow again. Can't wait to see.
It's okay. I'm about to be a Valkyrie main, okay? Just give me a little bit of time.
All right.
Just give me a little bit of time. I'm going to be jetpacking everywhere, okay? I'm going to be doing my my Reaper impression. My Terran Reaper, that is, an ancient reference. Yeah, they have jetpacks.
I get it.
So I really need to know. And that's part of any good video game fantasy is being able to fly around like that, so...
Yeah, and you're going to have a diverse tool set. You're going to be a caustic warrior, and then you're going to have Valkyrie as a nice backup. Another fight unfolding here. Looks like Bear Claw Gaming. They're in trouble.
Yeah, kind of got boxed in right on side of that building. It looked like he wasn't 100% sure which side, or which door, rather, the push was going to come in from. But when you get kind of caught up in an enclosed space like that, you know, it turns into a kill zone. There's not a whole lot of places to run. Grenades are not impossible to dodge in this game, right? But the damage, if you're inside of an enclosed space like that, is always going to be painful. You don't have too many places that you're going to run. That radius is not small. If you can get a wall on the other side, then sure, great. But that's not always going to be the case. So nice pickup here for Noir to start this start the series off.
I try to avoid buildings in general. You don't know if there's a
on Grape. Kind of turned into a blender situation. I thought Grape was coming out on top there, but you know, this is the secret, guys. If you compete in Battle Royale, this is the secret: is you don't want to be the two teams fighting when there's 3 teams left. You know, you have to be very confident to take that fight, and Grape was confident, but a little bit too claustrophobic of a situation for them to keep their wits about them in that fight. Well done though, as they do get that top 3 or top 2 finish rather, and put up a hell of a round to kick things off today.
Yeah, interesting start to the day. I have a feeling we're going to see a lot of parity over the next 2 days. Again, 16. We're going to see this 16 times over today and tomorrow. So buckle up, follow the stream, say hi to your new friends in the chat. Everyone watching right now, we're gonna be watching over the next 2 days as this action unfolds. I gotta say, man, really cool results at the end of this one. I really like how the zone worked out, the location of it. I think the most notable moment in this game might have been EXO falling so early. Grape, we were really looking to be like, okay, let's see how they do now, but they finished, I believe, in 4th or 5th place there. So the moral of the story is, we got a lot of different teams that are going to be going for it here and that are potentially going to be in contention. I think the results of this first round show that. Yeah,
strong start, and very excited to see where we're going to go from here as the rest of the matches continue on. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a break. When we return, more GLL Apex Legends. We'll see you in just a few. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the GLL Masters Spring. I'm Nathanius, joined by Axel Toss, as we just wrapped up our first round here for the APAC South region. Welcome back. And of course, I do want to just quickly say Sorry about the technical difficulties. If you were experiencing those on the stream in the first match,
crypto.
everything should be running. It was just probably some of my terrible jokes. I can't promise I won't talk about Caustic all day, but that probably was the point where everything stopped working earlier. But thank you for bearing with us. Really excited though, Axel Toss, because that last game, everything just got super hectic towards the end. The teams played a bit slower, a bit more slow than APAC North, kind of what we were expecting, not the same sort of W key maneuvering, but maybe that changes because that first round, you always see a little bit more caution. People want to get a feel for how everybody else is coming into the tournament.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that first round. I think, what really take out of it is that EXO knocked out pretty early. Grape, not in the top 3. And then I think we saw the most important part actually make the stream. Again, apologies about all that. But the most important part at the end, we saw Caustic and his gas canisters securing victory, Nathanius. Something we were talking about Caustic a little earlier in the round.
Well, I mean, they still use their guns to take it all the way, tragically. But we take a look at the leaderboard. We've only had one game, so this is also your total leaderboard for now. We'll be doing individual round and total after this. But Grape, we talked about them. So they get 7th place placement, but 15 kills keeps them pretty comfortable. Keeps them pretty comfortable. And I'm not... 7 points for that placement is fantastic. Athamed gets 12 points off placement. They did win the round, but they only did it off of 4 kills. So you can really see immediately the value of picking up those frags. You still want to get into the action. I think it's one of the most important parts of any competitive Battle Royale rule set is you want to motivate and encourage people to get out there and get into these scraps. So Grape is in first place at the end of 1. Simply off of their ability to take those fights. We saw them get into a lot of good battles, and We Are Trash right there with them. I'm just gonna have a good time with that. We've got We Are Trash and Tear Gas Warriors in the top 5, guys.
Yeah.
So it's just gonna be one of those days.
Yeah. Hey, bring on the fun names. And there you see EXO ranked 12, but really cool to see just how helpful it is. I mean, there's the evidence right there. And I was kind of talking about it. Can one team just rack up a ton of kills? We saw SKT1 in the North region. They had some crazy games with a ton of kills that got them a ton of points. And we're just seeing that in action here once again. Really nice job from Grape. And I'm excited to see how this next match unfolds.
Yeah. Should be really good. I expect to see those teams at the top of a lot of these rounds. Whether or not anybody's able to upset them is a big question mark for me. Something I'm scared about with the Thame, though, as we are going to look at them with a Thame coming in here to round number 2, we're starting it off, is they only had those 4 frags, right? So if they are good at playing this slow game, is it going to be a problem if they have any round where they get eliminated early on? Because that comeback potential, it's going to be a lot harder to achieve, Axel Toss, if they get set back. If they're relying on placement rather than frags, they have a little bit less agency over their ability to actually move up in the leaderboard. So they have to be very consistent with placement if you're going to be playing low frag strategy like that. If you're going to be just playing the rotations and the end game circle third parties, winning a game with 4 kills really says it all. You basically just killed half of each of the 2 teams that were left, right? And basically nobody else at any point in the game. So is this a situation that we're going to see get shook up? Well, instead of Harvester Circle, it looks like this game's going to be ending on Countdown. So already a huge jump now, that northwest corner. We're going to be taking a really, really important look throughout this game at those teams in the southeast. How fast will they make the rotations up to the northwest? Will BCJ be able to get up there? Will we see Noobles and his gang get up there? Those guys made it very deep in that last round. Renji Maru was that poor Gibraltar that got stuck on the edge with the ring kind of pinning him against that mountain. So there's a lot of action to see. And like we were saying, if you're just tuning in, we've got 8 rounds that we're playing today. This is round 2 of 8, and tomorrow we're going to have 8 more. This is total points across all 16 rounds. It is not ALGS match point format, so all you have to do is have the most points at the end, period.
Everyone, go play 16 rounds of Apex Legends right now. Go do it. Keep the stream on in the background.
I could do that in like 20 minutes. I could play all 8 rounds.
That's funny. No, it's a ton of Apex, and we're here for it. We love it. So make sure you're tuning in today and tomorrow. I promise. It's my promise. The stream will be beautiful from here on out. I that's a promise.
There you go.
Me. But,
direct all complaints to @AxelToss.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I'm loving how the map looks right now. We're gonna have some huge rotations from some of our teams. Notably, EXO is already relatively close to where we're going to see the game go, and Grape has a longer rotation to make. They're pretty tucked into the southeast side of southeast corner of World's Edge, so we'll keep an eye on that as we see a skirmish potentially unfolding here. See some arc stars going off, some posturing between these two teams. It looks like XFAM has better shields, but looks like they're going to be under pressure.
Yeah, bit of a split back. The Bloodhound got knocked down on the outside. Octane did use that mobility to create a little bit of separation, but both of his teammates kind of left hanging in the wind behind him. So he was able to get away, which is great, grand, wonderful, but unfortunately, the rest of the team in a kind of awkward spot. Complex is from Sweet Assist getting knocked. Moonlight Tears goes for the bubble, wants to get that quick heal up on the Bloodhound if he can, but at the same time, of course, you always have to be careful about getting pushed in this situation. If anybody tries to come in, secure those final kills, you don't want that to happen to you. But as we were taking a look, those Team BIOS players getting taken out early on. So X Team and Invade Esport eliminated early in match 2. So I guess that answers our question, AxelToss, of whether the teams were going to put the foot down a little bit more on the gas pedal as we went in to these later rounds. And by later, I literally mean not the first round where everybody's like, okay, I'm still warming up.
Yeah, well, I mean, we saw how important kills are in the last game. So maybe that did trigger something for some of these teams where they're going to be have, a little more pressure, be a little bit more aggressive, just to try to pick up a kill, see if they can get a kill or get those important points. But what's important about that is third parties, and everyone knows about that. You got to be careful if you're choosing to be aggressive and you're initiating a fight. There's probably going to be someone that hears your fight going on, and you're probably going to be third party. So you just got to be aware of that. It's definitely more risky. So I like to see the aggression, though. I mean, those kills are important as we see another fight unfolding here. Wolfpack Shadow. We see Easy Flash with the Spitfire. It's got that golden mag on there. So many shots. I'm pretty sure that's one of the most damage you can do on any gun with one mag is the golden mag on the Spitfire. So that's really nice to have.
Spitfire, a very popular choice next to that Eva. I think the two guns that have stood out to me from what we've been watching in the GLL over the course of the last month. Of course, not going to complain about a little charge rifle action. Yeah, always that wonderful feeling of kind of tracking that shot on the opponent, get that burn damage in, slow him down, and then of course hit him with that big whap at the end. A very, very satisfying weapon to use. Not quite as broken as originally when it came out. Well, I won't lie. That was the one time in Apex history that Nathanius was getting sniper kills. AxelToss was when the charge rifle was first put in, and you could put extended mag on it. It was a great time. It was a great time. One of my favorite weapons that we have in Apex. As we make a look at inside the ring, they're coming up on top of another squad. We've got a little bit of Wraith against the Wraith action, having the TTV in the username. Unfortunately, does not give him the superpowers necessary to secure that kill. Bloodhound coming up from behind. We've got a little Keck W on the Mastiff. Gets 145 going in and out of that Gibraltar shield. Gets a second for 63. Great knock on Osu Payer Uwu. These usernames are actually just incredible. We may have most creative usernames for APAC South region. That might be the trophy that gets taken, but unfortunately it won't be taken for them as Team Naja is going to wipe them out.
Yeah, and someone was asking in the chat, what teams are these and what region do they hail from? I said it earlier, 38% Indonesian, 30% from Thailand, 13% from Australia. like Team EXO, 8% from Malaysia, and then 1 player each representing India, the Philippines, Singapore, Taiwan, and Hong Kong. And what an opportunity to say, hey, let us know where you're from in the chat. Let us know where you're from. You probably have neighbors watching this stream. But we're seeing a lot of those third parties happen right now. Got to be really careful if you're fighting, especially in an open area. You might just be doomed if you're in an open area and you're in a competitive match and you're picking a fight. You got to be really careful. You have to make sure you're always in cover, because there's pretty much always going to be a team that's going to be hearing what's going on, and we're seeing that happen. A couple third parties coming in as the ring gets smaller and smaller.
Indeed. We're taking a look at Team Grape. Now, they were not first place based on their placement. However, they picked up 15 kills in the first round of the day. So they are at that first place position just off of their kill score alone. Placement wasn't bad. I think if they had died a little bit earlier, they probably wouldn't have had the same amount of kills, right? So it kind of seemed to fit together. Naja with the high ground vision, taking a look, kind of trying to consider where that thermite grenade might go. Thermite's always a little bit trickier to land, right? You kind of have that. The horizontal line action makes it, you can hit some tricky places.
Yeah.
But otherwise being precise with it is rather,
I love grenades.
Rather tricky. Yeah, well, you know my motto when it comes to Apex Legends. If you die with grenades in your inventory, that's how you've truly failed.
Yeah,
right?
I don't use comms much.
Never die with grenades.
Yeah, I don't use comms much in Apex, but when I do, it's to yell at my teammates for like leaving grenades behind and not taking grenades. I wish we could carry more of them, but anyway, yeah, the thermite, especially as you're saying, can be very technical, but being able to draw that line is very satisfying when you place it correctly.
Oh, hell yeah. Well, there's so many different ways that you can demonstrate your skill in these games. That's what makes them good. That's what makes them good competitive games, Axel Toss. It's opportunities to flex that. So everybody's packed up here in that northwest corner. We talked about it, a little bit less of a focus on the aggression. Still 14 squads left. I think this is where we're going to see a few more get taken out. You still only have a couple of those teams that are in the next circle. That's pulling up a little bit more between Countdown and Trials. We still have a lot of teams playing by Fissure, as they're going to have to work their way around that cliff to get up there. And you know what I love seeing on this mini map, Axel Toss? It's all those caustic traps. So making your way through there may not be quite so easy as it seems.
Yeah, when Nathanius plays, we'll see a smiley face on the map, and
my dream is to just have a team or a player taken out by the gas on stream so that we can all witness it together. Get your notebooks out, guys.
We saw it at the end of last game. We saw it at the end of last game, pretty much.
There'll be homework on the results of our hypothesis testing today.
And we kind of noted it, especially the last region that we covered, just the importance of movement in the map as a whole. You really want to get ahead of other teams when it comes to finding your way to those inner rings. So not surprising to see a lot of these teams really try to get ahead of others, just trying to make sure they're in a really good position. As we're getting a nice close-up of I'll let Nathanius take it away on this one.
You shouldn't have. It's like Christmas all over again. Beautiful. I don't think there's any gift giving holidays for a really long time, so I'm just gonna take this W. I'm gonna take that. I'm happy with that. We have two teams just on the outside, by the way. Nooble's squad was running a little bit. They were doing some work in that first round, so they're coming into the circle now, entering from the south side of Fissure. Noir not too far behind them. They're kind of in between Train Yard and Fissure, but still on that southern outside. The circle is not in a rush, as it were, to close. They still got 50 seconds. But this is where we get to that point where those last couple of spots that you want to hold down are going to be tricky. I think some of these teams will live longer than usual, though, Axel Toss, just because there's so many high ground areas splitting them off. It's a little bit more difficult for them to see each other. It's not quite as open as the Harvester finish we had last game.
Yeah, and there's a lot of low ground too. There's some lower levels in this area as we get to the end here. So a lot of places to kind of run and hide and potentially take cover and to kind of spread out from other teams. So we might see a pretty compact circle here, ring here at the end of this game, as we see NLN. We got the view of the Bloodhound Knight trying to take a shot there.
Yeah, getting into a little fight, kind of playing around the hill leading up to these train tracks, but it gets quite open once you go all the way up there. As we're looking at Noir, NLN, who you mentioned before, had four first place rounds for 125 points in semifinal 2. So they actually ended up coming ahead overall in the second semifinal. So NLN, another team worth keeping our eyes on. We didn't really see that impact from them in the first round. However, if you see them creeping up the leaderboard over the course of today or tomorrow, you should not be surprised. They were definitely one of the stronger teams in the semifinals, getting over here. Engage off that Noir. This is what I love to see from that Octane. Gets up super close and personal, gets the 301 shots, but notice it's not him that's actually securing those kills. He's also distracting and pulling the attention away, forcing them all to turn and take that look at him. Obviously, as you're saying right there, he has that Craver, which is always going to be nice to have no matter what goes down. But it was that Mastiff from the high ground. You create opportunities when you use your movement in a way that forces your opponent's team to have to readjust and reposition. If they're not preset to take you as you come in, then stuff like that happens. That's why I love seeing the Octane. I love that mobility. Give your opponent less opportunities to make plays, and then your teammates can capitalize on those opportunities.
Yeah, and you have to have conviction with your movements too. You can't be in between decisions with Octane, but you have to be good enough to be able to be able to have conviction to make those decisions. So the point is a lot of dynamic skill involved in using Octane properly. And we all know how important movement is at the highest level of play, which is what we're watching here. So the best Octanes in the world can really put on a show with their movement. And also there's a little bit of a science in placing your jump pads, of course. Kind of like Pathfinder, you can really keep your jump pads in mind. Like, I'm a little bit surprised we're seeing Waltzy, I believe. He hasn't used his jump pad in a while here. It doesn't take that long to get it back, so it's also fun to see the distribution of that jump pad use as well, especially as the ring gets smaller and smaller. Looks like we have an engagement here. Direwolves taking a look at this Octane once again. No Craver anymore. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I wasn't sure at that point if it was even a 13 that was coming in there, as Direwolves have 2 knocks. It's just Bullet L on the Gibraltar trying to keep his team alive. He comes up for the res on the first one right next to where that portal is. Looks like he will be able to get the pickup on Witchy. And I think the other teammate was still knocked down on the other side. Yeah, okay, so there's the bubble, goes to the res there. Gets a little bit of that speed boost, which is always nice to have. And when you're looking at the way that you're going to try to cross this large space gap, you need to be very careful. I don't think this is a situation where you're looking at that portal like, yeah, let's make a long jump or try to go around. We don't want to do that. Here's a Thame who picked up the first place in that first round. They didn't end up being ahead in points because, like we said, they basically just showed up and mopped up the last few players that were alive. But they have that caustic, so I'm gonna give them more credit than they deserve anyway, because they're awesome.
Hey.
He's got that high ground sniping position, which has been beautiful. But look who's up close, that Wraith getting in there on the backside with the R301. Not really sure we got to see her get the finish, but we did get to see the action take place from her perspective. So a nice little fight there as Sama and the rest of them are gonna loot up and try to get out. But they're not far at all from that other team. They're both right there.
Yeah, and I was kind of talking about that. Just very close quarters area here, so you can really be close to other teams without engaging. And look, there's a lower level, there's a second level, and there's even higher ground that you can take too. But as you mentioned with the Athane there, the triple take, one of my favorite weapons, and I like seeing the caustic putting that into play too. It can be really satisfying using that triple take properly, and obviously watching these players use that triple take. So cool to see him bringing that out. Now we're looking at Sweet Assist here. Gibraltar, Wraith, and Bloodhound. Looks like they're getting into a battle on this multi-level building, and it's PK above them. WGG PK. They've got Octane on their team with a little flame. Looks like they're going to come out on top here. Yeah, looks like they're doing just fine.
Well, you talk about a fast-running Octane moving around the map, and that's exactly when you want to have that fast R99, that fast Volt. Purple stock and mag, gold mag on the R99. You've got somebody who can move very quickly and get out. and get out a lot of bullets about just as fast. As you come over here towards the building securing a portion of the game, this is where you see a little bit of that caustic action on the choke points. Throws the gas bomb down. Does he get knocked? Yes, but at the very least, the gas should be able to create a little bit of space. Whether or not that means he's going to get revived, of course, a whole different story. It's just Crypto up top. Dado, he's on the lookout with that R301 and the EVA 8. Going to try to go for the res onto his Wraith teammate. He's getting scanned. The ring is coming. Do they have the time to get to the position they need to be in while possibly getting chased by this other team? I am not sure. Wraith is just on the run, though. Not a whole lot of room to maneuver.
And the shield situation is way less than ideal. Blue shields with 7 squads left, kind of not where you want to be. You want purple, you want red, to be honest. But we'll keep an eye on that. Tear Gas Warrior here. Another Octane. I love seeing all these Octanes, dude. I'm into it.
He comes in. Yanis comes in. Super hard power slide, boosted right off the Q stem. And then with that L star, you're just letting it rip. Big fat damage.
Here are the red shields you want. I mean, that's what I'm talking about. We got a team running around with blue shields, and we got Wolfpack Arctic over here just chilling.
Yeah, it's been a pretty interesting dichotomy between the teams that have been placing late. You either have a ton of kills and your team's name is you're looking at like Team Grape, or you don't have a lot of kills but you're getting first place. And these are the different kinds of situations that we're seeing. Of course, the advantage of getting into those fights and winning them is you level up your Evo shields, you get all of that damage added to your armor, and you've got those level 5 shields, and you're feeling incredibly powerful for those late game battles.
This is scary. EXO, everyone getting dropped except for player K is getting 1 res up. Second res is going to be underway here. EXO, one of our teams that we're really looking out for today. They didn't do so well in round 1, but here they are in the top 4. And remember, Grape is out, but look at this EXO. They're in a lot of trouble here trying to make these reses happen. But they're feeling a lot of pressure.
Yeah, having to spend a bit of that Beast of the Hunt using the res for the teammate. A jump up on Zaratas as they're playing around a very, very tight cliffside circle edge position. Zaratas only one left, gonna void run to try and get a little bit of distance away from the opponent player. Yanis, though, booping up and attempting to give chase. Shields do get completely taken out. Zaratas actually took a bit of damage from running outside the ring there for a moment. Goes for the armor swap and is gonna try to keep moving. Of course, even if his teammates die, worth pointing out, that placement is still going to be affected by where he goes out, even if it is just him.
Now, there's no ability to limit damage. Like, there's no hex shields that you can use here. So if you're caught, you're caught. And it looks like there's going to be a man down there. So this is going to come down to 2 teams, EXO and Direwolves. Only 1 man up from Wolfpack Arctic. I have trouble seeing if that's going to work out. We see an ultimate from the Direwolves. And we see EXO deploying the Gibraltar shields. These are the 2 teams in contention here at the end.
Yep, that's that final round counter. So it's basically mom and dad are coming home. For the party has to end. Something has to, it all has to get decided here and now, or that circle closes in and decides it for you. But you're right, Zaratas kind of just on his own on the outside, barely escaped. And it's still very important because if he picks up a frag, on the way out, if he's able to thirst one, that's huge. And
you hit now? Do you hit now? If you're Direwolves?
And say Rocky took some damage, but not too much. Yeah, he ran in. There you go. Okay, so Gibraltar down, and just the Wraith left. Direwolves comes in, and okay, well, you talk about it this way. Would it have been possible for Zaratas to actually get more points in that situation? Maybe, maybe not.
If he would sneak here.
When it's 1 versus 3v3, you don't feel like your chances are too good. But you do have that ability to kind of play spoiler in the way that you initiate that fight, or you make that poke, and then the other team comes in, and all he had to do was die while peeling the shields off of one of them. And then all of a sudden, it opened everything up for Direwolves to come in on the third party. And those are exactly the opportunities that you have to stay on top of, because I think it would have been a huge mistake by Direwolves to just sit there, let them pick off the solo, get their shields up, and gather up again, striking while the iron is hot, rather, paying off with huge dividends for them.
Yep, and we're going to see that happen again here as Direwolves really doing a great job this game to come out with the dub. And a fun couple games so far. Lots of dynamic movement. We saw some pretty funny plays with some jump pads. Lots of octanes in use. EXO doing pretty well, but here they just got caught. So it was just an awkward position for them. They ended up not being able to recover from that moment. And well, actually, sorry, they did recover, but then it came down to the final two. And then EXO decided to engage the solo, and Direwolves doing what they have to do. What's the number one rule if there's 3 teams left and you hear a fight?
Go.
What's the rule, chat? Yeah, there you go.
If there's 3 teams left and you hear gunshots, that is your best time to go. And Direwolves just capitalizing on an excellent opportunity. They get that first win. We're going to tally up the scores, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be right back after a short break with more Apex GLL action. We'll see you in a few. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the GLL Spring Masters. I am Nathanius, joined by Axeltos, and we just wrapped up our second round here for the APAC South region. And you know what, Axeltos? Sometimes I'm like, okay, how terrible am I at my job? Do I just not know what's going on? When I get surprised by something, is it because I just don't know anything? Chat was also freaking out during that game, so I felt a little bit more comfortable there. It got intense. It was wild and weird all over the place. And frankly speaking, I still kind of had an adrenaline rush high towards the end of that game from watching a Caustic ult on a tournament stream. Not something I get to see often enough. Sorry, guys. I got to get my kicks where I can.
I know we have a lot of Aussies playing, and we got some Aussies in the chat. So maybe people are thinking about kangaroos because we're seeing a lot of people hopping around on these Octane jump pads, which there's something there. Okay,
I love it.
The Octanes are everywhere. The jump pads are in play. We're seeing people fly across the map. It's a lot of fun, and there's lava in World's Edge, so you got to be careful in all this movement. But here we're seeing the scoreboard from the last game. Direwolves doing just fine. 24 total points, 12 kills. On top of their placement is going to be pretty much exactly where you want to be. Wolfpack Arctic, 16 points. EXO doing just fine, finishing in the top 3 there in the points. So now we're going to see the overall, I believe. Yes, and we have a tie at the top. We're already seeing the P word come into play, parity. To anyone who thought that one team would just win and win cleanly and without any questions, that's not happening over the next couple days here. We're seeing a couple teams locked up at the top, and also we have some teams that we think probably should be a little higher, like EXO and NLN, who did really well in the semifinals. They're probably looking to make some movements too. So already loving the parity that we're seeing.
Yeah, it's nice to have a good competitive start. So for context though, Grape, they got 9 placement points in the first game, and just the insane amount of kills, but it totals up to be not too much after the second round. So we didn't quite see them pop off in that way. But as you said, they're still able to maintain that parity with Direwolves, who are able to get that second win. And this is a question that I'm going to ask. We're going to bring it up. We're going to bring it up constantly. When we did APAC North, it was very, very contentious. We had different teams win almost every single round of the first day of games. People were still figuring things out. People were getting warmed up. We were hearing that someone on T1 was sick. But now we're here. We've had 2 different teams win. Is someone going to be able to get that repeat? I've been seeing a lot of hype in the chat for Team EXO, who have also been putting up a pretty solid fight. So at any moment, those guys could pop off. And much like we've seen with Team Grape, as well as with the aforementioned T1, it really only takes 1 or 2 rounds where you make that 15 kill pop off. They secured themselves a really nice position with just that first round. But I mean, hey, if they do that again at any point, then you start to create a little bit of separation. Things get a lot easier for you.
Yeah, and we've seen across multiple regions, some teams come out and just get a ton of kills. And we've said it before, just rack up a ton of points. It can definitely happen. And I kind of mentioned it last game. That might encourage some teams to be a little more aggressive in the beginning, really actively actively seek out some favorable fights to try to rack up those points. So I would not be surprised at all. We are definitely going to see it. We're going to see some teams just have super games, right, where they get a ton of kills and they get a really nice placement. So something to look out for. And on that note, speaking of other regions, I would encourage everyone to follow the stream and check out the action that is almost always going on here at twitch.tv/GLL Apex. We're going to be here covering this region today and tomorrow at the same time. So if you're here right now,
tune in tomorrow at the same time. We'll be here covering the same teams as we see who's going to win all the money at the end of tomorrow. And then there's also an event happening across other regions. So there's a ton of Apex Legends to watch here on the stream.
Yeah, it's basically going all day, and it's going to be a tremendous amount of action to follow, to say the least. Lots of stuff going on. I think getting into Europe, getting into NA today. Some people in chat were asking, they're like, "Where's TSM?" One person says hiding in the corner. The other person says they play later. Okay, they play later. All right, there's different regions, and yeah, so. Lots of stuff to look forward to, and lots of good teams that we're going to be able to watch. So we're catching up with X Team, who met an untimely demise in the last round. Coming up top, there's that Octane with the R301 that we've been talking about, moving around very quickly, getting it done. Is Bellicune taking some shots over from SA, though. They've got a nice little secured compound position, and Team X Fan finding themselves a little bit exposed.
Yeah, their Gibraltar. They just took him out. So these are the two teammates here. They're saying, "Hey, why are you picking on our Gibraltar? Where did he go?" But X Team, guess what? They know that they have a 3-2 advantage here, so they're going to push this, and they're probably going to find success because they've got those purple shields, and this should just be a formality.
They were able to take a pretty good fight earlier. We have seen some pretty terrible engages, though, or I guess rather it might have been bugging out a little bit in that first game. We had a team, a 3-stack, dive in with like 5 grenades on one of those little vans, and they got wiped on entry. It was pretty embarrassing, to say the least. But that does not happen to X Team here. Well, you know what? If the stream was black for a moment there back in that first game, Axel Toss, then. I guess you don't have to worry. There may not be as much evidence of their demise as previously foretold, so I don't feel as bad bringing it up later.
I will say I believe some of these players are streaming, by the way. So if you're tuning in here, definitely be sure to support all these players across all the regions.
Support competitive Apex.
Yeah.
So we were gushing earlier about the updates that they've been talking about, the reveal of the legacy season that's going to be coming up for Apex Legends. Nathanius is going to become a Valkyrie main. Don't worry, guys. I'm ready to fly around so that you can just shoot me out of the sky instead of having to find me hiding in the corner of a basement or a building. As this circle, by the way, is very similar. It's not exactly the last game. It's a little bit more shifted towards Skyhook countdown rather than just Trials countdown, which of course, if it gets even more centrally focused on Skyhook, the number of buildings that will be in play can cause for a very claustrophobic final circle, as it were, and perhaps a little bit more action for our Caustic gang if we still have him being picked by that third leading team now, Athane, right? They were not quite on top in the second round, but they were feeling quite strong after the first one. So, I'm always going to take those opportunities to call that out. That's what I want to see.
Yeah.
And as you guys can see on the map, everybody's just spreading out between buildings and Skyhook now.
We're already seeing the real estate market kind of take off. This is something we're seeing in cities around the world. Why would it be any different? Yeah, why would it be any different at Skyhook? We already have some houses being claimed.
Everybody's coming in with cash offers on Skyhook, man.
Yeah, everyone's moving in from different regions of the map, and I just hope we don't have that at the end here where everyone literally picks a house just to chill until the very end. I hope that doesn't happen, but here we are.
It's one of the things that it
start a garden. Set up your Wi-Fi.
I love our observer.
Maybe adopt an animal for your house, and
make sure you get one that has a yard. Right, very important. Very important.
Maybe a deck.
Get the
nice
doggy door. Save yourself. Get your doggy door. Save yourself that midnight walk. Give yourself a little bit of room to wiggle.
Which house would you choose?
There are so many teams packing in here, though.
Yeah. Which house would you choose?
I'd go survey camp while it's still in the circle. I want to be away from everybody here. This looks like a bloodbath. EXO, Rocky getting them to a fight up top. And it's like we're waiting for the action to start. There's still 19 squads left. All of these guys are so close.
The homeowners association in Skyhook, there could be.
So the top teams, was it like the top 3 teams in points get to run the Apex HOA? Is that it? Everybody has to give 25 light ammo per month or something, so that I don't know. I'm not going anywhere with that. I'm not going anywhere with that. I'm waiting for people to start shooting each other. We're getting close to that phase, but as was foretold, the Skyhook circle has disincentivized a little bit of the early aggression. Of course, you want to get as many placement points as possible, so you might as well let everybody else fight each other. But everybody else is also inside of a house. The only team that's been eliminated from this round is Sweet Assist, which is actually worth pointing out, considering that they were not slouching those first 2 rounds. They made it reasonably deep. So now we get to take a look at Team Noir with Bastion on that Kraber. You're not going to find more bullets for it, so make them count. Going to try to land the long shot. Unable to do so as of yet.
Don't worry, everyone. Neighbors are still figuring out property disputes in Skyhook right now. They're taking some shots at each other, but here we're looking...
Nothing's really happened.
Yeah, we're looking away from that area and more towards the outskirts where these teams are trying to rotate in towards the circle. And we see the Kraber action. Let's see if we can see a shot connect. No. Not yet. Not yet.
It's going to come in on the inside. I mean, this is the other reason why you play Octane, right? It's for that engage ability, the reposition ability. Goes over towards the side, trying to land some range shots on the water jets with the Volt. Admirable, to say the least, but not really showing in the results there. That SMG is going to be amazing at close mid-range, but trying to peel people down from 50 meters plus is always going to be a difficult time. As we've got Bastion. Okay, so he's up top towards the bridge now. Rest of the team is coming in slowly but surely. Team Noir with the reposition. So we've got Doom MVP very close with him. I think the other teammate just on the low ground of the cliff, still working very long ways around. But that Gibraltar, I guess, is going to be used to disengage. Now I think we can see that Bloodhound on top of the bridge. He's shooting down onto one of them. Yeah, Salvatores. He's quite a bit separated from his team.
Yeah. And struggling in the health department. So he's gonna try to hide and shield up. Meanwhile, BCG, we see them kind of in the distance over there, making their way over here, obviously hearing the shots. So Noir has to be pretty careful, especially because they're split up, not to get caught.
Yeah, so Team Noir is going to be coming back together. As we were talking about, the Skyhook nature of this circle has led to a diminished amount of early chaos between these teams. You know, a lot of it boils down to rotations. Most of the players, what you're doing is you're waiting to see where that circle's going to come in. Either you scanned it ahead of time, or you have to obviously just wait like everybody else for it to come in and reveal itself. But the rotation paths that you're going to be taking to try and get to optimal position, that's what everyone's looking for. So the pressure to just run out and move around for no reason isn't really there, because at the end of the day, you know all of those other houses are filled. People are peeking out windows. The last thing you want is 3 teams that are in the 3 buildings next to your building to all shoot at you at the same time while you're trying to go between them. As Noir is able to get a jump up on that Bloodhound left behind by the station here. And we got a nice little pan shot. Some shots coming in. It looks like some long range shots. Was that from Eclipse and Kazance onto Bastion? Yeah, look at this long range. He's got that 3X on the flat line. Level 2 mag, so a decent bit of rounds to work with. And that's what we're talking about, though. That's exactly what we're talking about. You're looking for those positions. You're trying to hold these angles. You've got the high ground, the zip line action, and the ability to... You kind of have that natural cover just by way of the height position that you have. So what the enemy team kind of has to come up and engage you if they want to do that, or you could try to force them out with something like the Gibraltar ultimate. But then that's why most teams run Gibraltar. So if you're somewhere you don't have quite that same level of cover, you can create it for yourself, make those opportunities where they otherwise wouldn't exist. Eclipse, by the way, with his boys in that northwest corner, kind of right in the outside of that cliff. So we are seeing some teams not just run into buildings, but if you look at Skyhook, yes, it's a beautiful neighborhood. It's a beautiful neighborhood.
I mean, find a place fast, because there's only a few buildings left. Meanwhile, EXO taking over 3 buildings. I don't know if HOA is going to be happy about that, but in all seriousness, I guess that's a pretty good move. Try to control a little bit more area amongst all of this flurry of buildings in the Skyhook area. I'm curious to see where this ring goes. Very curious. If it goes to the bottom left, and we're forced to see an evacuation of the city because of the impending storm, that's gonna be very interesting. If it zones in on one of these buildings, okay, there we go, a little bit to the top left.
Well, it cuts
kind of
it
half
cuts
and
off.
half.
It cuts off the part of Skyhook that nobody was at. So at the end of the day, all this really does is say, okay, BCG, you guys need to move now. Everybody else,
Yep, they're not moving. They're probably not going to budge.
Now that next circle that we can see is where things are going to get more interesting because you're pulling people up. Some of that high ground I think is still going to be in play, so that'll be worth paying attention to. But all the buildings will be taken off the board, so that's where things are going to get a bit more chaotic. And we see some of these shots getting traded across inside the middle as we've got team OWQ actually pushing in onto Nibble's building in the northeast with Renjimaru. So they're going to be looking for, I'm not sure if they're like directly on top of it. If we can get a look at these teams perhaps and see what's going on between them. Some of them are just so close, and the top-down view is disorienting because Apex is a game that has verticality in it. So sometimes so they're in the bottom of the building. The other team is in the top of the building. A natural standoff situation. Whoever tries to run out first will get shot by whoever is waiting behind. Worth keeping our eyes on that is a team ATH. That's with Nutsuru Sama. Those guys won the first round today with Nutsuru on the caustic that we've been seeing when we point out those little gas traps that have been on the map. Silver Sky from team Wolfpack Shadow. Also competing today is Wolfpack Arctic. So you'll see a lot of Wolfpack in the names and the teams of the players that are on the field for these matches. Bloodhound trying to peek outside with that base of the hunt. Went for the scan. Didn't quite get vision of anybody though. There's some tracks and some traces, but has he got a vision on the enemy team? Yeah, just on the inside, barely on the inside wall of the building across the street. An easy flash looking like he's going to try to play for a pick directly by the inside of that door. As we see here with that Wraith coming in on the R301. Now, keep in mind, does have the EVA 8 as the secondary, but with Purple Stabilizer and Gold Mag, a lot of tradability here, and he's just going to dip out.
Yeah, and hopefully not becoming like an LA situation or a crowded city where you're having to book a floor. Going for, all buildings are taken. Now you got to pick a floor. I mean, we're seeing some teams literally in the same building. First floor, second floor. I believe that's starting to happen. So we'll keep an eye on it. I mean, movement between these buildings is really important. But as we mentioned earlier, all these teams are eventually going to have to move. And that's when these important decisions are going to have to be made. Do you engage? Do you try to sweep around, take a wide rotation somehow, try to find cover a little bit away from other teams that are fighting, or do you try to third party one of these teams? But for now, everyone just trying to keep an eye on each other through these windows.
Yeah, well, like we talked about, when it comes to high level battle royale strategy, the rotations, making sure that you can get to where you want to be when you need to be there is huge. These building engagements, as crazy as they are, they all kind of have to come to a head at some point soon. You got a minute 45 before that next circle kicks in, like we've been talking about. It's going to pull everybody out as Aura comes in with that Mastiff. 3 shots left. They're able to get the wipe on the team. Now Lehem and Bellings are both still down. Jaro from Team Exo comes in on the top side with that Prowler and cleans up as well. So they come in, they swoop in on the third party. They're able to get the success there. Move up. You've taken one of the other squads out. You don't get quite as many frags, of course, because you didn't actually get necessarily credit for all of the kills since you came in for the third party. But that is also okay, because sometimes it's just about taking those resources, as we have Team INV going up against Team Savior. And we've got the R301 on the Bloodhound, able to clear it up with that Beast of the Hunt. And just another tough fight where those trades are going wild. And another team coming in, Dynasty ESC up top. J-Box watching the top of the stairs, covering the crossfire for flaws, and throws the thermite down the stairs. And need to take a moment. This is where the action just gets really intense. As you can see, that third party, once it pops, it doesn't stop. You hear those bullets flying. You've been sitting, waiting patiently this whole entire game. Now is the moment to strike and try to take advantage of one of these teams that's been softened up by this never-ending battle.
I'm looking out for EXO. It's like a domino falling, right? I'm looking out for EXO. Their setup is just crazy. They got a Kraber and a Prowler. And I'm sure they're hearing. If I'm them, I'm hunting. I mean, you need kills. And if you're set up like that with a kit like that, I feel like you're hunting and you're trying to find some teams to take out, especially if there are third parties to be had. And it's also interesting to see here, Jaro. Notice how he's using burst on the Prowler. It's pretty interesting. You can be a little bit more accurate at range, I suppose. I personally prefer going full auto with that bad boy, but I love seeing the Prowler in action. I miss it dearly.
That Sajin comes in on the top side, busts open the door, take down without too much trouble at all. That's player K from Team EXO. And looking good with those Eva shields. Love to see that Volt and that Mastiff combo. The Volt has been a pretty popular choice today. Still plenty of Mastiff use. You know, if you get the Volt, obviously you're going to be happy with that, or the Eva 8. Mastiff is going to give you that straight up raw punch as you get into these fights. But here's that circle. It's going to push everybody out. There it is. The horizontal pulling in, making it a little bit tougher to reposition around where that wall is. Jaro's going to get grabbed by Oki and Appraiser.
Oh my god!
A great engage by them onto the remnants of that EXO team. Because it just gets to the point where you're trying to make this move out. That circle is like, yes, nobody can hide inside of these buildings to get to this next ring. So you have to be very, very careful. As soon as you step outside, there's so many people waiting for you. It doesn't get any easier. So a minute to go in round 5 as the circle keeps moving in. And we've got our eyes on Wolfpack Arctic, the other Wolfpack team competing here today. A lot of Arc Stars coming out. That's what I like to see. Big explosions, heavy artillery usage, and the Gibraltar shield getting popped for some shield restores. But worth noting, there really isn't a lot of cover for them. So I think they're also getting third party from the other side. Zaratas is taking quite a few hits trying to find somewhere that he can cover.
Yeah, there's an edge guard happening. Everyone who came from the city is being edge guarded right now by at least 2 teams who are outside and up the hill. There's one team that just found themselves in the center of this last circle, and they've been there for like 5 minutes. But yeah, that's the struggle right now for all these teams rotating in from the city. They have nowhere to go because they're on the edge. So what that means is we're going to see a lot of fights. And obviously, the objective here, you want to rack up those kills. Every single one of these teams. We saw EXO get knocked out. We are Trash getting knocked out. 4 teams left. And dude, I believe it's happening again. We're going to get another different winner.
Yeah, it seems to be the way things are shaking up. I was about to say Tear Gas Warriors and We Are Trash. Those were the last 2 top 5 teams from the standings, at least after those first 2 that were here. Comes over on the slide. We finally get to see that Kraber work out for him, but I'm not able to capitalize on it on the follow-up. As we take a look back over at Golden Cat Gaming, there's that charge rifle we were talking about. A little bit of zip zap for you as it keeps moving around. 125 to go in this round. Kit, Meanie, and Yanlis are trying to work their way up towards the other side of that house. They got Eclipse on top, but riding around that little nook and cranny over there by this, I don't know to call it a canyon or a cave or this hole in the mountain. You've got Appraiser, Saber, and Oki just holding out. These are the last 2 squads for this round. Someone's about to get their first match win of the tournament, of the grand finals, excuse me, here.
Tear Gas Warrior a little split up across this final ring, or this last.
I like this position for them, though, regardless, right? They've got the high ground with the building to work with. They've got a little bit more space.
It's an even fight. Outside of what you just mentioned, it's pretty even regarding shields, weapons. Looks like, both these teams have three members up. Only 2 shots in this Kraber. Whoa,
2 shots. No, we got to see quite a few Kraber whiffs earlier. So this is the moment where we want to see those big money headshots. If you get 1 hit like that, that's the signal flare that goes off for everybody else in your squad. This is the moment to collapse, right? You look for the pick, create the opportunity, go for the collapse. Keep a little bit of space, of course. Make sure you're covering all the possible angles. But at this late in the game, there's not really too many other places anyone's coming from. It's just one team versus one other team. So Tear Gas Warrior, as we keep looking, Yanis trying to find opportunity on that Kraber. And since he's only going to have those 2 shots, he's basically relying on this R301 past that to make it happen. So takes the first one, whiffs, and almost going for the second one there. He's going to reposition one more time. He's got Bloodhound in his sights. I think he gets a little bit of a tag there, but that's the last shot out of the Kraber. So just now relying on that R301 for the pokes, and he's kind of getting shoved a little bit over here as that circle is going to become an issue very soon.
He's pushing. I think he hit with that Kraber. Now they're feeling confident, so it looks like Tear Gas Warrior, they're going to push into this. Only the R301 here. He's out of ammo on his second weapon. Is it going to matter? Is that going to come back to hurt him? It could. It's possible. Tear Gas Warrior, can they hold on here? Octane's down.
Oh, it's just Kit Meany now to try to hold it on for everybody, and that's not going to be possible. Golden Cat Gaming picks up the third round. Really like the idea there. You've got the Kraber on Octane. You're thinking about, okay, if I can just land one hit, either I'm going to chunk the shields or I'm going to knock somebody who's got low shields or doesn't have that level 5 Evo. But if you get that pick, everybody dives in. And as you can see, or I guess as we saw, as we get to the highlights of this round, the lack of that first shot, right, of getting that first pick to engage kind of cost them, as he was playing a little bit of tappy toes around the shield. Unfortunately, he wasn't really able to capitalize on that. So Golden Cat with a big fat dub here. Team EXO got into the action earlier along with Athame. So if you're wondering, hey, what happened to the other guys that were doing really well? What happened? Well, ladies and gentlemen, we had a skyhook circle. So everybody was just packed in, all real nice and close. And when people started to die, they started to die quickly. I mean, we went from 14 teams to 2 within, it felt like a matter of 2 minutes. Like everybody died.
Yep. The moment you're forced out of those buildings is the moment chaos ensues, and that's exactly what happened. At the end of the day, Golden Cat was there, and again, the team they were off against were also in a nice position. I think the team that got second there, they were literally at the top of that hill for the previous 10 minutes. Like, while everyone was fighting amongst the buildings in Skyhook, they were already in a really nice position. So we kind of see how important that is, positioning, especially with how early these teams move to where they need to go. So something to keep looking out for. But Nathanius, I think that's another unique team winner once again through our first 3 matches, which is pretty interesting to see.
Oh yeah, no, good. It's been a good, fun start to the day, ladies and gentlemen. We are done with our third of 8 rounds you're going to be watching today for GLL Apex. You're watching APAC South region. We'll be back after this short break. We'll see you in a few. We are back once again here with more Apex Legends action for you. This is the GLL Spring Masters APAC South. I'm Nathanius, joined by Axel Toss. May remember we were doing APAC North earlier this month. Welcome, guys. Hope you're all having a fantastic Friday and a great weekend of Apex action coming up, because not only are we covering all of these games today, Axel Toss, and we've got 7 more rounds or 6 more rounds or however many more rounds to bring you. Yeah. Then we're going into Europe, and then we're going into NA. So if you're sitting here and you're like, you know what, even if you just hate us, don't worry, we'll be gone. There'll be other casters. It'll be fantastic, I promise. There's so much variety in terms of the players that we're going to be seeing and the strategies. And to me, that's where the excitement always comes from. It's people bringing out their A game, but it's also people taking a confident stand with the compositions, with the legends, with the strategies and the drop points that they like to utilize. So we take a look at that game that we just wrapped up. This is the match score. So this is just for that third round. Golden Cat Gaming picked up 12 placement points and got 9 kills. So 21 points, a fantastic result for them. Getting 20 plus points in any round is definitely setting your team up for success. Dire Wolves falls down a bit roughly. Grape looks like they were eliminated early on with no kills. So one of our top 2 teams, I mean, they beefed it here, Axel Toss, and that's never a good time.
Yeah, EXO also not having a great round there. But as we said, guys, 16 rounds in total between today and tomorrow. Again, first 8 today, next 8 tomorrow for this region. And here we're seeing, oh my God, dude. I'm not very good at math, but it's not hard for me to know that it's pretty even at the top here. Look at the difference in points between number 1 and number 7.
Yeah. Well, the disparity there is very, very little. And that's what happens when the number 1 and number 2 teams both, like I said, for lack of a better word, I mean, they stepped on a rake and the handle just came up and hit them in the face on that round. And like we've been talking about, for anybody who's just coming in, curious about the format, is this like ALGS? So if we were comparing this like the Apex Legends Global Series, you are just playing for points. So it's up to 12 points for first place, 1 point per kill. And at the end of 16 rounds total, whoever has the most points wins. That's it. There's no match point after hitting X number of points across these games and then, oh, just win more and we're done. There will be 16 games played no matter what. We're doing 8 today and 8 tomorrow. So the winner will be crowned tomorrow, but obviously 16 games is a whole lot of Apex to play. So we've split it across 2 days so the teams can put their time in, do their prep, get their rest in after today, and maybe do a little bit of film study on what went wrong, what went right, and how to capitalize and adapt for the future rounds that they're going to have coming at them. Because like we said, it's only half total of the games today. No matter what happens, it's just half. So at the end, you know what we like to say in sports, and I'll say it in esports, at halftime, anything is possible. You can always turn it around. There's always going to be something that you can do to try and make that adjustment. Maybe not necessarily learn how to shoot. So if that's where you've been struggling, I don't have too much advice to give you there. But I expect to see all these guys playing with the hearts of champions and never giving up, as there's a lot on the line here, Axel Toss, as we jump into match 4. And we've got our team spreading out. Nothing super crazy jumping out to me. I don't think anybody's adjusting their landing points and whatnot. That's not really something that happens a ton outside of certain sorts of desperate situations. But what is worth pointing out at the very beginning of this, Circle is in the southeast. We've had 2 finishes by Harvester, right? We had the first one was by Harvester, and then 2 by Countdown, leaning towards Skyhook in that last one. So now we've got our first east side, first southeast Circle in this game, and that's going to have a pretty interesting impact because the entire game, the entire lobby is going to need to sprint down here at some point or another.
Okay, well, I hope everything's okay. I hope it's okay.
Hey, you know what? You know what? It's sometimes the school bus needs to have a wheel changed, and that is okay too. We will still get there, whether we have to call another bus or we wait for them to come replace the tire in the middle of the road.
It's always possible to have to remake that there, but
yes.
What's really cool though, I was listening to what you're saying there, and thinking about how close the standings are and how many games there are at this point. If you're one of those teams in contention, you got to be feeling pretty good. If you're one of the teams right now that's kind of locked in with the most points, which we have 4 teams right now, and if you're even close to that, you've got to be feeling pretty good with how many good teams are in this lobby. I think it's going to be interesting to see if any teams like really kind of take advantage of that, because this is a moment where literally in this game, we're approaching the end of the first quarter, right? But in this game, when it's so close amongst all these teams at the top, we've seen how many points can be distributed if you just have one really, really good game. So I think this might be a critical game here, because I don't know if it'll be this close, right? From here on, this could be a critical game to see which one of these top teams can be aggressive, can find a lot of kills, and try to separate themselves from the rest. This could be a critical moment for that.
Yeah, and we, as you guys can see, of course, we've got another look back on this. So shout out for the backup options. We did have a spare tire in the back. Everybody worked together to lift it up and replace it, and we are rolling along again. For as long as we can roll here.
My reputation's on the line here too. I made a promise.
What's your promise again? Have you put your honor on the line?
Zero issues on stream here.
Yes. So like I said, if you guys are,
we're going to be flawless from here.
If you have any complaints about the stream today, you can always just tweet at Axel Toss. I'm sure he'll appreciate, and it will solve all of your problems with absolutely no delay at all. But like you were talking about, though, it is going to come down to that, especially towards the end of the day. You want to have some separation. You want to go to bed tonight feeling like, okay, I don't have to be in a super crazy rush tomorrow at the start of the match, right? You want your team to be able to take it slow. You don't want to have to start that fight that turns into a big chain of third parties where you're the first team that gets killed and your opportunities quickly slip away from you. You're only going to have so many chances like that. So picking up those points as early as possible even if there's still a lot of game left to be played, it still kind of gives you that peace of mind feeling and allows you to focus without hopefully getting too relaxed. As we take a look at Invade Esport, there's the gap on the R301, taking some shots towards the portal, but not able to secure anything just yet from there, as we can see.
Yeah, just a little bit jumpy in the beginning of the games here, but EXO is involved in this fight, and I believe 2 men down there from EXO. This could be a catastrophe for EXO if they can't make this work. This is Invade Esport that's giving them a lot of trouble, and I'm a little bit nervous for EXO right now. We have this Bloodhound is extremely low in health, still able to make it work. And is EXO down?
It looks like they were able to get a cleanup on them. Yeah, right outside of there. Jaro and Rocky went down. As you guys can see, obviously there's a little bit of jitter that you can see on the stream. So we're just doing the best with what we have here. Sometimes it's just going to be like that, but a good cleanup by them nonetheless, as the circle is in a pretty advantageous spot, right? Like we talked about this is our first Southeast circle that we've had. This has opened up some other things like that geyser play that we saw on the right side. Dire Wolves, our team that was able to pick up that round recently, getting into a little bit of a skirmish. We've got Witsy with 3 arc stars popping. There you see, that's the stim out of the Octane for that reposition. Keep that speed going that we've been seeing so much of, and looking with that Volt for the opportunity to shoot at these guys. And I'm trying not to miss this when it starts, but I'm seeing lots of people in the chat were also talking about that. They're excited about that, the discussion on the Octane viability with the Horizon nerfs that are coming.
Yeah.
That huge nerf to how fast and how far you're going to go with that Q boop and whatnot. Really, I think opens it up for a few other folks. I think that was Nutsura over there that was getting hit. As we've got Owado up on the on the high ground, excuse me, looking down on these guys, but it looks like a bit of a 3. We got like 3 teams interacting over here, getting into it. As Dire Wolves is going to get the mop up on Jack Cute and Nutsura Sama on the bottom side. Nutsura Sama was that caustic we were looking at earlier. Until somebody else is playing weird off-meta picks that make me very happy. I will unfortunately keep calling attention to that because Caustic is based, and that's just the way it is.
No disagreement here, and we are the commentators, so what we say goes, right? Isn't that how it works? EXO knocked out. I'm still super shocked about that. I mean, Aussie, anyone? These are the Aussie heroes that were doing so well in the semifinals, and they get knocked out in this game. So I wonder if there are any Aussies in the chat, any fans of EXO. Are you guys watching? Let your voices be heard. I think they need your energy because they just got knocked out very early in this game. So we'll have to see if they can bring it back, but anything can happen. Apex Legends, Battle Royale, caught out a little bit. Maybe your loot's not that great. It's super unforgiving. Maybe you make a little mistake here or there. So we'll have to see if EXO can turn it around. Again, we're getting to the end of the first quarter. 25% of the way through all of our games. 16 total rounds on the battlefield of World's Edge for all these teams here in the Asia Pacific South region. So
yeah. X-Fam running into INV on the other side of that bridge as they get their way across. And you're right, yeah, lots on the line here, lots of pressure for these teams. As we were also taking a look a little while ago there at the insane grenade tactics of Team Wolfpack Arctic. Gibraltar Ult's going to push for a reposition there. But INV not too far away. We've got PK right on top of them there, within about 50, 60 meters of each other with that circle continuing to close. X-Fam was able to reposition to a nice little spot. We take a look over here. We've got Little Flame on the Octane. P20 Volt. Yeah, so P20 is a fun gun when you land those shots, but it's it doesn't quite have that sprayability of I can't aim, I'm going to die. So not always the most common pick, right? We have a longbow on Tekayan-san with the Mastiff in tow. We've seen a lot of that. Shotgun secondary. No reason not to have that Mastiff for EVA 8 if you can get it. Looking for it with the longbow. He's got the purple stabilizer. He's got the 3X. He's got the purple stock. Why am I saying this? It's because he's got no excuses to miss those shots. You got to make sure you can create those opportunities for your team, get those picks, open things up, deny the rotations, and get it done. But at the end of the day, team's still okay. They're starting to fan out and spread out. With 16 squads left, if you die right now, you're getting no placement points. So you do want to play it a little bit safe. Even if you think you can force it, sometimes that's how you end up being one of the first teams out, and then you just get to boot up the stream and watch it with everybody else who's you know, not as good as Team Wolfpack perhaps, or NLN maybe.
Yeah, and that kind of speaks towards the importance of positioning. Once again, we're taking a look at the map here, and that sequence of fighting we just saw is just a result of the constriction from going from north to south on World's Edge. As you can see, we talked about earlier, and it came into play in our first round especially, there's not a lot of pathways to make your way through. So you got to be really careful making those rotations.
Trades on the bubbles. Got a Venn diagram of shields here, Axel tells.
Yeah, we got a fight unfolding here, but as I was saying, it's just important to rotate early. So look out for these teams to really look out for that. And yeah, that fight didn't last very long, did it?
Now, I'm not sure if it was the armor swap in that fight that did it for Gopgaps. That was a good play by him as well. Very low on the health. Of course, you don't want to get caught by that circle at all, because that damage is going to go through the shields. You absolutely need to get the heals up, but they get to keep moving forward, and that's a nice grab for them. INV's been looking pretty solid in this round, feeling good. Still lots of teams to go, however. And then way off in the distance, you see Jack Cute Team ATH, who have been very, very closely been following those guys. They have one player who is actually out right now, so it looks like it's just the two of them based on that graphic that I see here. Wolfpack Arctic, though, coming back over to Zaratos. This was your grenade, your grenadier from earlier. You know, they did put Fuse in the game, but all of the other characters can still throw grenades, so it's not off the table for them either. With a maxed out Evo shield, it's been just trying to do a little bit of light trading. So they're basically not necessarily like completely edge guarding, because there's a little bit more room than just directly towards them that they can go, but there's not a whole lot. And this is exactly the position that you want to be in. You're gatekeeping the edge here. You've got the high ground. You have a fully charged shield. Still has the portal. Still has the void walk if necessary. So there's very little risk for Zaratos to kind of step forward and do as little bit of a poking as he can, because that's how you're going to open things up for your teammates and get it done. He's not really at risk of getting caught with all of his abilities available.
And I believe there's an Octane over there somewhere. So again, we're seeing the utility of that Octane. Once again, we're seeing the jump pad come into play, enhancing the mobility of these teams. And if you're in a situation like that where you're running in from the storm and you're being edge guarded or gate kept and you just can't engage, you want that Octane jump pad. You need a way to go around, or you're begging for another team to come in and third party whoever's fighting you. So that's what these teams are looking out for, as they try to rotate into a better position, as we're seeing some more fights unfold. 14 squads left here.
PK getting pinched on this building a little bit as Wolfpack Arctic comes in on the engage, throwing every single grenade that they have. PK was able to get a full res up on all of their players. However, they kind of have it closed in, that death box, blocking the pathing a little bit. If you're trying to run through that door, you're going to have to make a little hop over it and expose yourself. But coming out the back door, Kazance is ready to get Hiai. Comes in now on the Octane, is able to actually get the knockback on him. So he's doing his best to really make this as difficult as possible for everybody else. Zaratos on the Mastiff. We saw him landing some great shots earlier and really trying to stay on top of where the opposing team was. Gets a beautiful pop on that Mastiff with the last shell in the Mastiff to get the kill that saves your team, basically brings an end to that fight.
Ooh, look at this.
Nice play as we switch over to Zabby W. Not seeing a tremendous amount of picks for this Legend. I love the you got some engage opportunities, of course, with the Death Totem ult, but it's not something that we see a tremendous amount of. So worth pointing out that we get to see the variety squad here between that Heroic. It's going to combine all three Legends names at the same time and make a big beautiful mess. But I'll just summarize it as dropped down with the Spitfire and killed everybody. So you could also say par for the course for competitive Apex to some degree on this patch right now. Lots of Spitfire action. When you've got that mag, you can make a whole lot of terrifying things. And going for the punch to help reposition, a little boot.
it seems funny sometimes, but punching your teammates to move them out of the open when they're crawling around, especially in pub games when they don't know what you're doing, is, you know, it's an ace maneuver.
Yeah, and again, we're seeing the importance of position. We just saw that player drop from above to take a really nice fight. So you really got to look out for that in these situations. Not too many teams left here. A lot of our winners from earlier are out. Direwolves, Grape, EXO, Noir, or teams that have done well earlier are again, a lot of these teams getting knocked out early. So, man, I'm telling you, last region, I feel like we were spoiled and we were covering Asia Pacific North. It came down to the very end. SKT1 ended up winning. It came down to the very last match. I think something similar might be unfolding for us right now. We're just seeing a lot of parity, a lot of different teams making a run for it. And this might be another unique match where we have a unique winner. So keep an eye on it.
Yeah, we've got Amelia Z on the horizon, playing in this spot. They've got the reposition ability between her and the Octane, going for both of them. Interesting. So there you see, there's the death protection totem being put up there by Revenant as they're going to try to make the engage on this building. We've seen this fail before, but at the very least, when it fails this time, you get sent back over to the totem. So you're not necessarily completely without a paddle. You get that opportunity, you go in, you try to poke them, get them softened up, come back to life, re-up, and then go in once more. And if you've done your job, if you've been able to cause enough chaos, then it's not, it shouldn't be too much more difficult to finish it off past that. But at the same time, we've seen ATH has been doing a pretty good job of keeping alive. It looks like Cleason from AIC actually getting in some long shots. Yeah, we're seeing a little bit of a pinch on that team. So ATH actually getting caught up now. It's a little bit of a sandwich action between two teams. There's the Horizontal to pull them in, and Zabby gets very low, but he's still up. There's that kill leader popping up for him. Apex, SQW, Keck W. A lot of W sounds to be made there. But what really matters is that Octane is kicking some ass right now. It's got that gold mag on the R301, has the Volt in reserve. Lots of mobility, lots of bullets to push out as we take a look back over towards Wolfpack Shadow.
Yes, and the double SMG action on that Octane.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you think Octane's twitchy at first, and you add the SMGs in there, and then you got some hyperspeed going on there. So interesting to see that unfold. They were seeing another look here at our kill leader. Obviously Octane's fast, so working in these SMGs can be pretty nice. If you're able to close the distance really fast, take a bunch of shots, switch weapons, you have a lot of damage output in a very short amount of time. So Octane's going to be happy with that. So we'll have to see how that develops, as it looks like that storm is coming in. So a lot of pressure on these teams to get into a better position, which means some edge guarding is going to be happening and some third parties. So not a lot of area to be had for these teams. It's going to start getting uncomfortable, and we're going to start seeing some fights.
Yep, inside the ring, coming back over towards the outside, rubbing it up front. Shields get picked very quickly as he is down. Zabby is down, and that's going to be, I believe, a wipe on that team. But Wolfpack Shadow getting third party, looks like. Silver Sky's still down. Easy Flash very low. Wolfpack Arctic coming up on the other side. So actually they end up getting cleaned up and third partied by the other squad from Wolfpack. Arctic is declaring their superiority in this match so far. It looks like one player from Shadow is still alive based on our graphics. He's trying to hang in there. Worth pointing out, though, is that We Are Trash, who were another one of the teams that were doing a little bit better in points early, in the top 4. So big opportunity for them to try and get something done here as Wolfpack Shadow does finally get finished off. Who would have thought? Exactly. Who would have thought that the team We Are Trash is actually near the top? This is some high quality. This is like, it's like, oh yeah, you have a garbage bin. Well, this is my bin where I recycle old computer parts for gold. There you go. It's the highest quality trash you can have.
That was good. Yeah, it's crazy, dude. It is actually crazy. And they didn't do that well in the qualifiers. I was kind of looking through some stats and seeing how they did, but really turning it up a notch here. And what a day to do it when there's so many different teams doing well and finding success. So I believe We Are Trash, they were top 3 in the first game. So we'll keep an eye on that. Bearclaw Gaming still involved. Gibraltar Horizon and Bloodhound. Gibraltar doing a nice job getting enough damage to upgrade those shields. It's actually pretty critical to do.
Yeah, playing around in a final circle like this, where it gets this tight. You got 3 squads. There's still a little bit of that DOT from the ground if you step on the wrong spot. It's not something that you want to have to deal with, of course. That's where the mobility comes into play. You're going to have to either use that portal to get up, or you're looking for that jump head, depending on what team you're using. We've got Zeratas up top as that Gibraltar ult comes down. Wolfpack hiding in their Gibraltar bubble to kind of keep it alive. But I feel like Wolfpack might be a little bit too close to We Are Trash.
You don't want to be low ground here. I think low ground is not a good spot to be, so it might be between our two teams on the high ground. I mean, magic can happen, crazy things can happen, but generally you don't want to be in that low ground spot right now.
No, he's got the purple mag, got that purple stock. Mix has everything that he needs to get it done. Plenty of ammo in reserve. Lands a few posts. One of the other things, though, of course, that we've been talking about all day, you don't necessarily want to have that engagement start with you. There's 3 squads left, so whichever 2 are fighting, the third one that's going to come in for that mop-up is going to be very difficult to deal with. They're going to be fresh. They're going to have everything charged up, so it's kind of important to make sure that you're checking both angles and keeping both teams honest. Savior Heavier, he's the one that's getting a little bit poked, has to pop the bubble to keep himself alive. That's the reason why you go for Gibraltar. That's why he's such a staple pick in competitive comps. That ability to kind of give that cover is so huge. But coming in is Wolfpack. Yeah, Twizzy up on top. Zeratas does get knocked down. I think he's going for the res at the moment from Kazance. But with that, Eva 8 gets the knock on Cleason. So Twizzy doing a really good job covering for the teammate. Wraith is able to get revived, and that's going to put them in a good spot to keep this late game fight going.
M Hicks from We Are Trash getting knocked there, and he's going to be down. It's not the best situation now that Bear Claw, remember, they were in the low ground, but they're the third party, just like you said. They waited for that fight to unfold. Now Bear Claw coming up here, they're looking like they're in a really good spot. Red shields, purple shields make that 2 members of their team, actually all 3 now with red shields. This might be Bear Claw's game to lose. Coming in as a third party here, trying to clean it all up. Can they make it happen?
Yeah, lots of chaos ensuing. They've come down to the bottom. They've all got those level 5 shields using the bubble to cover. You're just trying to prep for one more.
Bear against Wolf.
Oh my God. You know, that's, I mean, bears are, have you seen a bear in real life before? They're huge.
No.
They're terrifying. Yeah.
Well, it is new, I think, probably.
Growing up in the middle of the woods, I've walked past
Who
the
wins,
pond.
the bear or the wolf?
I've walked past
bear.
the pond and seen a bear not less than maybe 20 meters away drinking out the water. You don't want to get close to a bear. But here come the bubble shield. Both of them popped up right next to each other. Coming up with the Eva 8 is Twizzy. He's going in, tries to get about half the shields off of the other Bloodhound. He gets knocked down, however, though. And Wolfpack Arctic is going to get the cleanup on the other side with that R301 Peacekeeper action. That's what I like to see. We were watching Twizzy with his massive, with his little Eva 8 action, but when you get to see that Peacekeeper come out, that's when it gets fun. When you get to see that high power shotgun blowing faces off, that is going to do it. That is going to secure you those dubs, and super well played. They defeated the other Wolfpack team, so we had that fight for
it's a
dominance.
lot of animals. There's dire wolves.
Exactly. We're witnessing, Mother Nature, I guess, taking course here with the wolf packs culling each other and then taking down bears. If you can imagine a wolf pack I don't know, maybe a pack of wolves could take down a bear. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not
a wolf pack. Totally, that makes sense. I believe a wolf pack is defined as at least 3. Pretty sure.
Well, there you have it. And they played themselves a fantastic game. These fights got so crazy that we were able to see the plays around this van is where everything kind of fell apart for Wolfpack Shadow, because they were looking super strong earlier. But I just want to, big credit to Twizzy as he covered in a big way for Kazance to get that Wraith back up in a key moment that allowed them to have all the pieces set for this, not only holding this position that they could then take to win the game, but just having your whole team together in general. And there it was. Zeratas with just a sliver of health. Bringing him back was huge. And that's, when I look at that game, I think about that final circle. I just think about that play right beforehand where all that chaos is happening. 3 teams are trading. One of you's knocked down. You're only going to have so many chances to make the most of those moments. And they did that fantastically. Guys, we're going to take a quick break to tally up the scores. We'll be back in a few moments. You're watching the GLL Spring Masters. Welcome back once again, ladies and gentlemen, to the GLL Spring Masters here for Apex Legends. We're covering the APAC South region this time. It's Nathanius, Hi, and Axel Toss. with me. That's my incredibly smooth introduction for this one. We've finished up the first 4 rounds, Axeltoss. We're halfway through the first day. Time flies when you're playing Apex. It's so fast paced. Honestly, I love it. Once things get going, it gets crazy. But we've seen a little bit more conservative play out of APAC South, right, compared to APAC North. Man, nothing. Now I realize just how crazy those APAC North matches really were.
I love it.
As that was W key the whole way through. But at the end of 4, that 4th match, we had Wolfpack Arctic. Not only did they get the first place points, they got 19 kills, 31 points off of that round. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why we've been saying any moment someone can step into the spotlight, they can grab that opportunity and they can run with it. So that just has me asking all sorts of questions about what the total standings are right now, as we are a quarter of the way through our grand finals here. And there you go, Wolfpack Arctic leading the pack, no pun intended.
And critically, a lot of the other teams near the top of our standings here in that last game nearly did nothing. Like, look, just look. You see 4 through 7? That's literally around the points they were at. 30, 30, 29, 28. Like, I remember that. 30, 30, 29, 28. No movement in the points for a lot of our top teams there. So that was absolutely huge for Wolfpack Arctic. Not only racking up the kills, but also all these other top teams getting knocked early and doing effectively nothing. But as you said, look at the top. After game 4 out of 16, you guys know how to crunch down those fractions. We're 25% of the way through. We're halfway through halfway. So there's still a lot of games to be played. But Wolfpack Arctic making a huge statement through the first quarter.
Yeah, and they are the team that seems to be living up to their pedigree in terms of the previous results. Just going into this, like we talked about, Wolfpack Arctic had the most points, but didn't get the match point victory in ALGS. So they came in 2nd place. They had only 2 wins in the first semifinal, making their way over here. But that's the difference that it makes, with a little bit of that consistency, a little bit of those moves. As we get ready to drop in here for round number 5, I'm thinking about teams like Grape, who, your ALGS winner, but very shaky, 6th place in the semifinal. And they started off so strong, and they already seem to have cooled off a little bit, right? So I'm excited to see where we go as we keep following Wolfpack Arctic in this game. If they get 19 kills again, I don't know. Maybe someone's gonna just call in sick tomorrow at some point and be like, these guys managed to get 200 frags on day 1. I don't really understand how it's possible in day 2. And I'll be fair with you, if they got 200 frags in all 8 games today, it would probably be over. So thankfully that's not going to happen. It's going to be a little bit more competitive than that. But Wolfpack Arctic feeling strong as we take another look at the map. And that circle, is that Axeltoss, is that the same circle as last game? Am I crazy?
It is very close.
Yeah.
Very close.
That final circle is giving me that impression.
I will say too, based on what we saw last game, Wolfpack Arctic, they basically showed what's possible, right? And either they will keep trying to do what they just did, because that's how momentum works. You just keep doing what you did and try to do it again. As you said, try to run away with it. But these other teams who are up there, now if they didn't know before, they know it's possible. They see the gap that has been set. So now this is a very important game for those teams that are near the top to make a statement for themselves, to try to catch up with that Wolfpack team. So curious to see what we're going to see from Grape, what we're going to see from EXO, from these other top teams as they try to bridge this gap. I mean, if they didn't know by now that kills are important, they definitely know now. If they're, I'm sure they're staying on top of the standings. So it's kind of being shown in front of us here how important it is to mix in those kills if a team can really go after it and really try to break away from the pack.
No doubt. Absolutely. Absolutely no doubt about that. And this is, I think that their positioning and the way that their teams work together has been something that's been a treat to watch. We got a little pip in the top left of some action going down as we have our first fight going on. Cannot read it off of the pop-up on my screen, if I'm being honest. If we can swing over to that, would be amazing. As our first kills happening, it looks like we've got IWNL Oira getting up over here, getting the res for the teammates, and it looks like that's with XFam up on the top side here as he's pulling around back over towards the outer edge of that building. And I think that was the first team wipe that we had. I think so. We just dropped down to 19. So I think we might have just barely missed that one. Yeah, that was Sweet Assist getting taken down early, and we will keep our eyes on how everybody else goes as we continue to make our way through this match. But I do like the motif we have running for today's games. We've got multiple Wolfpack teams. You've also got Dire Wolves. We've got Bear Claw, which outside of all unnecessary bear comments, is apparently
We have
also
trash.
a snack. Apparently people eat. Apparently Bear Claw is like a type of snack or a donut or something. It's from flyover states or something like that. Apparently they have a thing with that. So don't know if these guys are just a fan of sweet treats or giant monsters. Yes, some strange variety of donut that I've somehow never run into. But yeah, when we look at that circle, that's going to pull everybody pretty far. We've had kind of just one. We started today's matches with the Harvester finish. So it was a bit centrally focused. It wasn't too much pressure for anybody to get there. But then we had 2 Skyhook / Countdown / Trials finishes. But, one of the other things that we've seen a lot with this is, of course, it's lava everywhere. And that's kind of come into play a little bit. We've seen some players take the dots, trying to run around and get between these areas. When you have the environmental hazard, it's going to encourage you to run through those bridges. And then, well, Axel Toss, everybody should be looking at the bridges, right?
Absolutely. You gotta cover it. And the thing is, there's a lot of narrow channels. I mentioned it before on World's Edge, making these huge rotations across the map. That harvester area actually becomes a critical location, even though it's not necessarily the end circle. It's going to be a critical passing point to get from the north side of the map to the south side of the map. And we talked about it earlier, how important that movement is in making sure you are in a good position to third-party other teams, or to edge guard, or to gatekeep, or to cover a choke point. Right? That's kind of what you're trying to do. But as I said, I'm really curious which of these teams are going to be super aggressive, because you can try to edge guard or try to find a safe spot pretty deep within the ring as far as you can go. But at the same time, now these teams should know how important these kills are. So I'm really looking out for seeing which teams really go out and get it.
Yeah, racking them up over the course of these games, that's the biggest source of points, right? You can only get a maximum of 12 off that placement. As we are looking at Dire Wolves, we've got Wiltsy throwing out with that G7 Scout. And that's what I'd love to see. G7, such a fun gun. And he's got that huge magazine capacity to just tap it in if he can get that opportunity. We take a look back over on Rickason as he's kind of working his way around the side. They take down Eclipse, and they're going to keep on moving forward. Dire Wolves have been a very strong contender as well here. One of those top 5 teams that we were talking about. They've picked up a dub themselves. And as long as you get the momentum rolling with those kills early on, you've got to be feeling good. Every point counts. You have so many games to go. Even after today, like we said, there's 8 more rounds tomorrow. This is not match point ALGS format. It is just after 16 games of freaking Apex Legends. Whoever has the most points wins. That's it.
Yep.
And that is
Addition.
all that matters. You just
Simple
gotta get
addition.
those kills.
Simple addition at the end of the day after 16 rounds. Points for placement, points for kills, and obviously, if we know at this point there's a ton of good teams on the map, so anyone can really take this because of how close it is at the top. We're seeing a fight unfold here. X team trying to come out on top here. It looks like they're in a solid position. Only 1 man down. 2 of them have purple shields, and it looks like they are going to be okay. It looks like taking out PK And the res is going to happen onto that Bloodhound. So X Team doing a good job. However, look at this. INV, they heard what was going on, and they're coming in quickly.
Yeah, I was gonna say that wasn't the first time we've seen Belkin make those rotation plays and come around the side with the EVA 8, but INV shooting on the chase a little bit, making sure those guys are going away. And if they could have, of course, gotten a chance for a pick there, that's what you want to do. But since it is still just that first round, the damage off the ring isn't going to be something that should tank any of these teams. The early loss here for X Team with line going down, losing that Bloodhound early. That's never something that you want to have to deal with. I believe, yeah, I don't know. It still says recover banner. So if they haven't been able to get it, or if they don't think they're going to be able to get it, that's something that will cause them to likely that's when you just try to hide, right? Like what are you going to do in that situation? Yeah. Two versus three. You have to play third parties, right? Any head to head fight, if the other team is even remotely competent, should go pretty badly for you. As we get another look at this map, and we have one coming in right off Fragment West, but then X-Fam doing their best to make their run from very far away.
Yeah. Oh my God. I didn't even see him at first. I had to really look up there to see how far away they are. More on them later, but they probably won't finish in the top 3. Is that too harsh to say? I mean, at this point, most of the teams that are going to be competitive in this game are pretty deep within this ring here, and we can see that already playing out. A lot of these teams kind of picking a spot and then holding it down, watching the entrances, watching the other buildings. Obviously, between the buildings is a lot of open space, so some people might be like, well, why don't you just engage? Why don't you just push? Well, then you're running across the open space and you're leaving yourself vulnerable. And also, as you can see, there's a lot of other teams around here. So it's not a simple thing to try to push across one of these gaps. Not only are you going to be attacked by whoever you're pushing, but you're potentially going to be third party. So that's why these stalemates happen. And that's why these guys are sticking in these buildings for now. So we'll see how this develops. Usually the way to get out of this situation is the storm coming in and pushing everyone out. So stay tuned. We'll see how this develops.
Yeah. An unsurprising vision, by the way, there, as that's at the end of the day. At the end of the day, the placement points are worth enough, and the opportunity to try and get a third-party set of kills rather than getting third-partied is so important. Controlling that situation and the way that the engagements take place, there's very little reason to just run out and expose yourself for a fight, because everybody else is looking to kill anyone who finishes a fight in one of those buildings.
Yep, and there's no pressure to move. It's not like there's zombies around. It's a storm that you can predict, and you know when it's coming. So not a lot of pressure to move at that moment. But here we're seeing some pressure to move. I believe all these players are, it looks like an edge guard situation here, trying to make them, all these teams trying to make their way to the smaller ring there. And we're seeing Wolfpack Arctic. Remember how many kills they got last game? They might be feeling really good. Gibraltar he's only 71 damage away from upgrading his shield, so he's looking for those shots. Looking for just 71 more damage. Can he get it to get the purple shields? Give me 71 damage, please, is what he's saying. 15, 43 more. He's working on it. But yeah, this is the team that showed up huge last game, and we can see them here. They're not in a building. They're not containing themselves into awkward,
they're in the same spot where that last game ended too. It's funny to point out here. This isn't where it's going to end, I don't think, but they're fighting against. They're fighting against DW Witchy and Bullet L and Rickason. They're fighting them in the same spot where they had to take that final engagement to win the last round.
Yeah, that's right.
It's kind of funny to see that position.
You have EXO here too, so we got to be careful. Wolfpack, Arctic, they don't want to be sandwiched by both these teams, so they have to kind of identify who they're going to engage, and they have to decide who they're going to fight. You can't fight them both, but they are in a good spot because the other teams have, I believe, more pressure to come into the ring. So we'll keep an eye on it. EXO is here; they're in the area. This is a huge game for EXO. I can't understate it. They're not doing that well in our standings. They're in 10th with 21 points. So EXO needs a huge win. They need a lot of kills. So they might be trying to do that right now as we're taking a look at inside the ring. In a little bit of trouble. And Miliazi barely ducking behind cover in between a rock and a hard place in a good way right now.
You think Horizon gets there fast enough to survive in the next patch? with the speed nerf on that. I don't know. Let's scratch the beard here on that one. That's a tough spot to be in. Both your teammates are dead. You're up on top. You're kind of tucked into a cliff. I don't think you want to peek out. No. You're staying there.
What a spot, though. I mean, at least it's like it's a somewhat safe spot. I mean, not being forced out of the spot either. It just found a nice rock to just chill. But that's Wolfpack Arctic right below. Let's see if they catch a whiff of Emilia's. And that Horizon player is staying perfectly still.
That camera view is just amazing. Just hurtling up. Good slide shot on that Mastiff by Jack. You're going to void run for the disengage off a Thame. A Thame was able to win one of those first early rounds. Nutsuro-sama very low, however, taking a couple more hits. That's the Caustic. Even with that fortified damage reduction and the bullet slow reduction, still got to be careful when you're making these plays and running through these areas. Was he setting off something there? Not 100% sure. We've got Belkin coming around the outside, climbing up the side of the building. So setting up for a flank on X team as they approach the roof. There are already going to be some enemies waiting for them. And there's the scan off Bloodhound trying to see where he is. Not sure that he actually was able to tag him, though.
Yeah, this is tricky. There's still 17 squads left. There's still a ton of squads left. So we're seeing some teams in tatters with only 1 up or only 2 up. And it's a really big deal to have your full squad right now with still 17 squads left. So still a lot of fighting to be done and a lot more squads kind of making it to the late game. So we're going to see some pressure. Look at all these teams outside the ring here. They're going to have to kind of pick a route, and there's not many options. There's just a few channels, a few pathways that you have to pick from. And we're also, man, this ring is getting really interesting. A fourth of it is going to be in lava, and there's going to be a lot of different multi-levels, ground floor, first floor, second floor, and then high ground in this area. So here comes the storm coming in, and we're going to start to see a lot of movement from these teams, and certainly some fights are going to unfold here.
Yeah, going to be getting choked up.
Especially.
Yeah, that top right is turning into a bit of a bloodbath, I think. We've got one of those Wolfpack teams not too far away, I believe. And here's right NLN, one of our stronger teams coming into it. Similarly, thirsty for some points. Haven't been able to really get everything that they want. It looks like 8th was taken down earlier as well. So we've got from our top contenders that we were looking at. Grape is still in it. We still got Exo, Dire Wolves, Bear Claw. They're hanging in there. We are trash. And these guys all very much so in the mix for it. As we've said, there are 8 rounds today. This is round 5. This is match 5 of 16 total. The second set of 8 matches will be played tomorrow. Same time, same place. We'll be right here with them and finding out who is able to get first place. Whoever's able to actually take that dub. We'll take a look back over to Team Exo now. Here's Rocky with that Volt. Has the 30-30 on the sides. Going to throw out that ult. Try to push them away from that position. Get them to come out into the open. Gets a 40 tag on the Bloodhound, but not able to get the knock. So with that gold shields, it's not quite so easy. You can't just kill them with 2 shots, unfortunately, Axel Toss. It's not that easy.
Yeah, and we see a rotation happening. We see X-Fam, they're hopping over the other direction, and they're running right into another team. And Exo, they're probably not feeling too good about that. They're like, wait, why didn't you come this way? We wanted the kills. So Exo probably going to be sweeping around here, trying to third-party this. It's Golden Cat. They have a win earlier today, so they're in a pretty decent position on the day, looking to add some kills to get those so important, my precious points. And Exo, there we see them leaping in, obviously going
the third
around the
party.
long way.
Yeah, just diving in. They want to clean up house. They want to take advantage of this. Appraiser down, Saber down, coming up. There's just the Octane, goes for the scan, comes around the side, and that is an easy
that's
clean up. You know, like you said, Team Exo finally able to catch a little bit of wind in their sails, get a bit of momentum, get moving, and hopefully set up some difficult to slow inertia if they can maintain this pace, pushing through the map like a hot knife through butter. But there's still 13 teams left, so they've got a long ways to go. As we look back over on Naja, we've got the Bloodhound taken down, and I just love that username, Osu player Uwu. There's 3 beautiful words next to each other that I'm a huge fan of. as we go back over on NLN with Renji Maru. He's pre-firing the door. They're expecting them to try to come out from that spot, but they start moving a little bit too soon, it looks like.
This could be a lot of fighting here. This ring is getting quite small, and a lot of these teams running uphill. So there's going to be teams on the high ground just looking with lust at all the players coming at them, ready to get those kills. So we're going to have to see which team is going to come out on top here. 11 squads left. We just went from like 17 to 15 to 11 very quickly. And look at this, not a lot of cover out here too. It's very open.
Exactly. You're just kind of playing around a few rocks here and there. Bunny Hop getting clapped on the outside of the ring as we take a look over at Rudine here from Bear Claw Gaming, trying to get it done with that R99. No attachments other than a blue mag, though. So not quite maybe the versatile kit that he was hoping for. Just a bullet spraying machine in his hands. And finally going to be able to power up a little bit, get back on that R301. Bit better kitted out as that weapon for him as his teammates. We have Jub off the EVA 8 in the R301. We've seen this combo tremendously as well. And yeah, that's right. Hi, I'm still here. Hey, shout out to the people in the chat who do this every game that they play in Apex Legends, because a win is a win. Points are points, man. Points are points. And if I hide in a cave and everybody dies and I'm just alone and I do nothing, guess what? I still get RP. Did you know that? It's like, yeah, it's unbelievable. It should be a crime. It should be a crime when strategy is that good. But here we are, as Emiliazzi is going to try to keep everything together. And by that, I mean just hide.
Ooh, another solo. If it right there, I believe. I guess the goal there would be to take out the other solo. No, it looks like a team of two. So running for the hills, just trying to stay alive. Perfectly valid, but good luck. It's getting very constricted here. By the way, EXO, they got wiped. They were looking for a huge game here. They got a decent amount of kills. They had the kill leader at one point, but they got wiped. They right around 9th or 10th, so not ideal for them. Only 7 squads left here, and now we're going to have them all coming to the same area. Direwolf's still up, all 3 teams. We're seeing some ults around. We also have Lava. They have to be careful about Bear Claw. They want their revenge. Remember, they got 2nd place in the last game.
And this situation's getting pretty intense, like you were talking about. A lot of DOT ground. We got the lava everywhere. Both of the Wolfpack teams, I was trying to keep my eyes on them. Arctic was still up just a moment ago, as Mix is going to get knocked by and Bear Claw Gaming. They've got this building held down. They've got the rock next to it. Good spot. Here's Arctic. Zaratas. We saw Zaratas with the grenades, with a little bit of the snipe action in the last round. Now it's on the R301. Gets that high ground. Tries to come up and land those shots, but unable to get it done. TP's back. And, well, that's kind of the point of that ability. You could go in, tries to take the quick engage, pulls back, but there's still 5 squads total, so the third-party potential, very real. However, since it's not just 3 teams, you know, you're not 100% sure where everyone is and which spots are safe and which are not.
We might see a repeat winner here. Wolfpack Arctic have to be feeling incredible right now. They just had a huge game last game, and now they're in the top 5. So nothing but good things happening here for Wolfpack Arctic in this match number 5. Again, out of 16 total, 8 matches played today, 8 matches played tomorrow at the same time. Let's see how this one unfolds. Bear Claw, they want their revenge. They've been looking pretty decent with their loadout in this game, so it might come down to, once again, Wolfpack Arctic and Bear Claw. They were top 2 in the last game. Wouldn't it be crazy if they ended up top 2 here?
Yeah, worth pointing out, by the way, this team here, the Wolfpack Shadow, they have 2 teams here. So there's Wolfpack Shadow, Wolfpack Arctic. Arctic actually killed Shadow on their way to that win in that previous round that we were talking about. So these guys have absolutely no camaraderie between them. And for, all the obvious reasons. You want to win. You want to win. You don't care who's in front of your barrel. You're gonna take them out. You're gonna do everything that you can. As I'm looking at Kazance, they are extremely close over by Witsy. And they are trading against the bubble shield over here off the other team, but they're getting so close up on top of each other. There's Bullet Eld letting it rip. His shield goes down, pops the bubble right as he gets knocked, though, and Zaratas is coming up on the front. That's what we're talking about. Wolfpack Arctic, these guys have just been on point. Good cleanup there. So Zaratas and Twizzy still feeling fine. 2 squads left as they have multiple OOOs and Cha-Cha-Chas to take down as this last fight begins. Dipping a little bit into that circle, though. That damage is huge, and it looks like Wolfpack Arctic getting cleaned up here by Team OWO, and
The meme team.
They have a little meme team.
The meme team.
Dream action, ladies and gentlemen, as that's kind of what we talk about with Battle Royale, though. Wolfpack Arctic did a really good job, but what ended up happening? What actually happened? Well, Wolfpack Arctic was in a good place. They were trading across distance with Wolfpack Shadow. That was the moment. That was the moment where I wasn't sure if that was if We Are Trash was the ones that, or Direwolves, just dive straight in. I think it was Direwolves. They get into the thick of it. They get in between them, and you have three amazing teams all kill each other, and then the other team on the outside is like, oh, you guys are all dead, huh? And they just kind of walk in and take the dub. So a nice, very nice victory and pickup for them there, as that's definitely one of those things when we talk about the results. Another team that hasn't won winning.
Yeah, and I'm honestly trying to figure out which team it was. I'm calling them the meme team for now with those ridiculous names, but I think importantly, Arctic. Let's see, Wolfpack Arctic. I think that was a pretty huge game for them. They had such a good game last game, and then they found themselves in I believe, the top 3 in that situation, and also racking up a lot of kills. So I think that's going to be pretty big for them. Pretty cool to see both Wolfpack teams involved. EXO, they're going to wish that went a little bit better. They did, they got some decent amount of kills, but then they got eliminated. So still, it's a crazy day. Still a lot of variance at the top. But I think we have like 2 or 3 teams that are starting to put together some consistency.
Oh, yeah. We're going to tally the scores, and we're going to go to a break, ladies and gentlemen. We want to get into this next match as soon as we can, so we'll see you in a few. You're watching GLL Spring Masters. Welcome back once again to the GLL Spring Masters. I'm Nathanius, joined by Axel Toss, as we are cruising and moving through our first day of the grand finals for the APAC South region. We just saw K7 Esports take their first dub, and Axel Toss, we talk about it, we joke about it, but it is kind of awesome that we've got multiple teams winning today. Nobody's got a repeat dub just yet after 5. And K7 feeling pretty good. 12 points off placement and 8 off of kills.
Yeah, Wolfpack Arctic and Direwolves are going to be pretty okay with that last game. Wolfpack Arctic especially, as I was saying, because of how they played in the previous game. So they seem to be racking up the points. EXO's not going to be too happy. By the way, K7 Esports, before that last game, they were in second to last place. And then they win? What? That's I'm going to make my name that. What? Like, their names are ridiculous. I don't know if you noticed, but here are the overall standings. Wolfpack Arctic, they're winning, and they're breaking away. And that's what happens when they had such a huge game in the game before last game, and then they had a huge game last game, getting second place. Now they have 71 points. Second place, We Are Trash with 48 points, followed by the Direwolves with 43. Still many games to be played, ladies and gents. See at the top, game 5 out of 16. Next game is game 6. We're playing 8 games today, 8 games tomorrow. And remember, we have all the other regions playing here, twitch.tv/GLL Apex. So make sure you throw down a follow. And if you like Apex Legends, this weekend, this channel is the place to be.
Yeah, well, like Axetos is saying, we've got APAC South right now. We're going to be live here again tomorrow with the second half of matches at the same time. So if you're used to watching ALGS, you're going to be expecting a little bit of, okay, yeah, you play real slow, you get a certain amount of points, then the next game you play to win, right? And if you get first place after you reach a certain amount of points, you win. That's not how we do it here. After all 16 rounds have been played out, the point total is going to determine who wins at the end of it. So Wolfpack Arctic putting themselves into a pretty nice spot. Definitely can't complain. 71 points in first place. And the most important thing to keep in mind there is that second place is 48. So you've got a nice comfortable lead considering how few points some of the teams have been getting per game. You know, you've basically got a situation where if second place screws up even once, you could be like 50 points ahead of whoever ends up being in second even after that. So this has just made things so exciting because we haven't seen those repeat finishers, and it's got that marathon vibe to it. You got to get through all 8 games today, and then tomorrow there's 8 more. But to just finish my rambling very quickly, yeah, we've got EU, we've got NA coming up after this. We got Apex Legends all day today and tomorrow, and yeah, at Sunday, just so much. So here's K7 Esports coming in to go down. Saw a lot of people in the chat are a fan of these names. Oh, whoa, and cha. If these players would like to directly contact me as to the specific pronunciation, I am more than willing to accommodate. But until then, I would just have a little fun with it, because what are games for if not for fun? And playing for large amounts of money.
I think you're pronouncing it perfectly. I don't know either, though.
Thank you.
But to kind of elaborate on Wolfpack Arctic a little bit, they did not. They're doing well right now. They're doing quite well. And some people in the chat might be like, "Oh, they're just gonna run away with it. I think they're just gonna win. I'm gonna stop watching." Not so fast, my friends. I wouldn't be convinced that Wolfpack Arctic will just run away with it. However, obviously they played really well the past 2 games, so the chance is there. But what I'm trying to say is, in their semifinal, coming into this match, coming into today, they had a lot of trouble. Well, they didn't have a lot of trouble, but they had some trouble. Like, it wasn't easy going. It wasn't a smooth sailing run. In fact, EXO was in the same semifinal as Wolfpack Arctic, and EXO kind of had an easy going with it. They kind of won by a lot. An X team, who we've been seeing today, also finished ahead of Wolfpack Arctic in the semifinals coming into this. So Wolfpack Arctic's in a great spot right now, and you could say they have a good amount of momentum, but the door is certainly open for other teams to make some moves. So I'm looking out for that. I think EXO had a pretty solid. I keep saying them. They're the Aussies, and they're one of the favorites coming in. They had a pretty solid game last game, but then they had a kill leader on their team, but then they got knocked out in like 10th place. So I'm still looking out for EXO to have a pretty big game. All these teams are still in it. We're still not even halfway through all the games we're going to be playing between today and tomorrow. So I'm looking out for some moves to be made, Mr. Nathanius.
Oh, yeah. And as you can see, our observer's done a great job tracking a couple of teams getting a little bit close to each other over here at the start of this one. And yeah, this sometimes is going to be how it looks. That's okay. Shields going up, bubbles on either side. Orax going straight in immediately, dips back. That's the Gibraltar. So he's kind of taking that poke up the front immediately. Coming up on SA. These guys have had a bit of a rough go of it. They look strong at the start, but they have not really been able to take as many of those fights as I was kind of expecting based on their earlier performance. But 2 players end up getting down. X-Fam, Lame getting the res off. And they do a good job. Good
Sweet
job right there with the cleanup. Sweet Assist has been dying pretty, well, you could say if they've been doing something consistently, it's that, right? At least you're consistent in that, I guess.
Poor guys.
Yeah, the total leaderboard, by the way, as they were coming into this round, they were in 19th place. So, yeah, I think that's all I need to say, actually. Let's keep moving on with that then.
Well, Mr. Nathanius, K7, as I said, they were in 19th place before last game, and then they won. So Sweet Assist, hang in there. I'm sure their time will come in our series here between today and tomorrow. But yeah, and don't be concerned, folks. It is a little jumpy in the beginning of the games, but then it gets smoother. And don't worry, the players aren't experiencing lag, so don't be concerned about that. Here we see the ring in that more central location, which is pretty cool to see. It means not a lot of it means rotations shouldn't be too dire for a lot of these teams. Of course, some games we've seen today, the ring has been tucked into the skyhook top left. The ring has been tucked into the bottom right, requiring some huge rotations from some of these teams. So might be a breath of fresh air not having to run so far, at least if you're not Octane.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly, right. And I think that's a big part of competitive Apex metagame when you're talking about strategies that people are doing, and there's been a lot of good conversations going on about compositions, which legends are good, which are bad, which are better on certain maps and certain areas of those maps. And we get a look over here. That's Wolfpack. That's Twizzy chasing down Flume in the tunnels. And he's got him so low. He is. You see that? You see that he's holding that W key down hard, chasing down the opponent. He wants that kill. He wants to get that frag, clean it up. He's on the hunt. He's on the hunt. Goes for a shield swap, I think, to some low evo just for a little bit of anything. But Twizzy's coming up with the flat line, gets the kill, and that's a tragic way to go out for Flume. He's got to be careful though, because those gunshots are drawing what looks to be another team potentially towards him.
Yeah, that's what Flume was trying to do. He's like, okay, I can't win this fight. Let's see if I can run and find another team to come help me. Unfortunately, did not work out for him. Now we're hot swapping over to Invade Esport. Looks like they got a man down, Gibraltar. Seen better days. Let's see if teammates can offer a rescue, the Wraith and Bloodhound players. The ultimate from Bloodhound enables him to move a little faster, throws down a scan, shuts the door, thinking about shielding. He's not going to do that just yet. Like he's going to take the zip line to the top floor, looking for a teammate. There's his teammate. Dire straits there for Invade.
Sketchy situation. Yeah, Dynasty ESC has been eliminated as well from this game, but you know you're in a situation where you're one of the teams that has been doing kind of middle of the pack with Invade, but you're struggling there when Sayajin gets killed early on. Your Gibraltar, that's a bit of your, you know, that's your anchor point. He can kind of be a point man in a way with the gun shield, peak doors sort of deal, but that's not necessarily the best spot to be without, right? You don't want to lose those guys early. X team cleaning up, looting some bodies. PK taking down Yanis, you see on the kill feed. So another little scrap going on around the map. Not too much. I mean, 17 squads still remain. So a couple of these guys are getting picked, but we haven't really had that great collapse just yet. As Little Flame, we get a look. This was PK. As they are coming in. It's that fight that we were talking about. Eclipse off the bleed out. And Kazance getting an ult kill, it looked like there, off of the bombardment. So not bad at all. We're getting, actually, I think a little bit more, a decent bit more action than we've been accustomed to in these early games.
It's true. I'm not sure why. Maybe it's just the ring location and just how these teams so happen to be rotating, just running into each other. But yeah, 4 teams down. You know, we could have some teams that are playing a little bit more aggressive, trying to get some more points. As we see, this is Wolfpack Arctic just taking care of business, wiping PK. We saw some nice Mastiff action there from Zeratos. So they're gonna pick up what they put down in the last game. And also something notable right now, all of our top players are still involved. So all of our top teams who are, you know, pretty deeply in contention are making sure they're staying alive in the early stages of this game. And again, that might have to do with early rotations, really making sure you get into a nice position so you're not having to, you know, run through an awkward position in order to escape the storm. You really want to make sure you're playing ahead of that storm, playing ahead of the ring, and rotating ahead of other teams so you're not caught off guard.
Yeah, I also think taking down PK was a very high value trade for them to be able to get, you know, considering the way that their game was starting. I thought PK was about to pop off. I'm asking myself, is this the next team that's going to show us what they've got? And then no, Wolfpack Arctic have been an absolute rock in this series. They've been very consistent, very strong. Not quite as all over the place as we've been seeing from some of these other teams, but very interested to see, because with the Fragment East circle closing in, they're going to have very few places they can hide.
We have a skirmish unfolding here in this grow room of nice plants. That's a nice room. Breathe in some fresh oxygen in there, I'm sure. Obviously, they have a team above them, so worried about that. X team, though, they're doing decently with their health situation and shields. Gibraltar getting low on health. The Octane trying to put in the work. He's got the red shields. Let's see if he can make it happen. Mozambique not working out. X team getting low. Last man down, and they're out. But you always have to worry about third parties.
Yeah, that's always going to be the big threat. You coming in there and getting cleaned up. Those next players going in for the kill, and that action does not seem to stop just endless torrent of bullets hailing through, ripping apart those shields and getting those frags.
Yeah, Wolfpack Shadow coming in there and cleaning up. Third parties, they're going to happen. And we have more fights happening. Easy Flash. Putting work in on the Volt. We're seeing the Volt R99 combo. Just every Wraith seems like a go-to combination there. SMG does require a lot of ammo, but obviously you're able to dish out a lot of damage in a short amount of time, and you have a incredibly dynamic ability to switch weapons really easily with 2 SMGs. 5 kills for Easy Flash from Wolfpack Shadow. Not the Wolfpack Arctic team, but the Shadow team. Now they're putting in the work and racking up some points.
Yeah, that's been really nice. We've seen both of those Wolfpack teams be... We've seen both of the Wolfpack teams be really competitive, regardless of if that was EXO. Then yeah, excellent play on their part. As man, I'm just thinking about it, man. Like it's just the circle variety has been starting to get really good too. It was all the way on the left side. Get another fight coming in up here.
Oh, close but no cigar for that Bloodhound.
And we get another look, of course, here at 8th Aim, who took one of the first rounds, actually, in today's series, in today's grand finals, as we are on round 6 of 8 today. Round 6 of 16 total. There'll be 8 more matches tomorrow where we will crown the champion based on a totalage of points. But they get a nice setup, able to grab some more of those resources. And I've been a huge fan of ATH, just because they've got the Caustic on the team. You know, mixing it up. You know, Caustic's
and a
just
Crypto,
got
for that matter, is super unique.
Yeah, exactly. And it's kind of a variety composition. And in that you have the nice utility that nobody else, right, is running Caustic in this lobby that I've seen. We've had a Revenant as well, which of course, you can use that ultimate to try to push in and get extra kills, right, without really risking yourself in the same way as any other normal pro fight that you could get into. But if you get to that late game circle, if you're in those buildings and it's really confined and claustrophobic, that's where your Caustic is going to shine. And you can also do things like this. You can do, I mean, it's in this position, it doesn't block both doors. But what you're saying is, okay, you're going to open the part that will open and and then you're just going to immediately be in the gas. So obviously the gas benefits you. It gives vision of anybody that steps inside of it. Don't worry, though. Caustic can still see clearly when he steps into the gas.
We can see a very interesting ring developing, almost 50% area over lava. So that's going to be interesting as we continue forward here. K7 Esports, they were second to last going into last game, but then guess what? They won and they got a fair amount of kills. So they're trying to improve their standing. Plenty of time to do it with 16 total matches. Again, between today and tomorrow. This team was pretty fun to watch in the last game. Let's see if they can pick up some momentum. Also to note, we are Trash, a team that was in our top 2. Top 3, they have been knocked. They have been eliminated from this match. So they're going to try to bring things back, but having a pretty solid day so far. So here we see K7 Esports. They're feeling some pressure here to move towards that ring. And at this point, you're always going to be running into another team. So we'll have to see how they handle whatever is in front of them. It looks like there is a team that's kind of waiting around the corner. We see Grape also knocked out, one of our teams that has been in contention. So Wolfpack Arctic, things are just looking better for them as the games go along, and every place they can get is very important, and I'm sure they're going to be pretty happy with their standing right now. They've got a lot of momentum in this game, so look out for Wolfpack Arctic. Also NLN and EXO still around in this lobby. This has to be the game for EXO. I mean, it's getting to the point where EXO, they need to win one. They have to win one today. We only have 3 matches left today, including this match right now. So EXO,
I think
don't be confused.
For them.
We see Recco Sun here that says EXO next to his name. That's not EXO. That's a little annoying, but that's not him. Team EXO is someone else on this map right now, and they almost need to win here. It's almost imperative for them to win this one.
Yeah, and that's K7 Esports, by the way, pushing in on them. As you can see, Cha-Cha-Cha-Cha going in for what looks like it could have been a little bit of a flank. Uwu hanging back with Roy ETTV. Put up the Gibraltar bubble, cover against the complementary Gibraltar ultimate.
Sure.
Nothing super shocking there. That combo, Gibraltar counters Gibraltar. That's not something that's super crazy. to say in some of those situations. Doom MVP from Team Noir trying to land some long shots off that Spitfire, not quite able to hit Pater. As we get a look over here, this is Cha on that Volt with the Octane. His name is so long it actually has to be compressed a little bit in the interface, so that really tells you everything you need to know. He's a bit of a Lightning McQueen type archetype character that we're seeing here. Comes around on the side, gets the down on the Gibraltar, and he's gonna keep moving. He's just gonna keep moving forward here, Axel Toss. He's trying to pop the shield. He ends up having to stim back. He gets caught a little bit overextended, and Nitsuro-sama, that's the caustic, with the charge rifle getting the down there. Nitsuro-sama's been doing a really, really good work with that charge rifle all day.
I love hearing you say their names, so I'm just letting you cover the play-by-play for K7 Esports. I don't know if I could. I think you say it very eloquently. So
if I'm going to be remembered for something from the cast, it's going to be something funny, okay?
It's beautiful. I love it.
If I get anything across.
But the Octane there, I'll say, overextending a little bit, but looks like they're gonna get away with it. It is very impressive / surprising to see how aggressive K7 Esports is being. They're kind of just showing up out of nowhere. Like, quite frankly, between last game and this game, they're really showing up in a big way, and it's cool to see. And now we're flicking over to EXO. This is a team that has to make something happen. Aussie. This is your team. I don't know if we got any Aussies in the chat watching this, but EXO's your team from Australia that you're hoping will represent your region and win this thing. They've had some trouble today, but right now, fully situated with those purple shields, which is going to be nice. Looking for some damage to try to upgrade to those juicy red shields. Seem to be in a solid position here. Kind of looking, they got a team next to him in a building and a couple teams a little bit further away. So EXO probably looking for a nice third party right now. They don't necessarily want to take a straight up fight. Probably want to play it really safe. But all these teams going to have to start thinking about that ring position. We're 5 seconds away from that storm moving in. So we're going to see some fights happen here. 7 squads left.
Yeah, so this is K7 stuck on the outside a little bit. Only 6 other squads for them to go up against. Kind of exposing this position from flanks. Oh, is going to push up to the front door. That's I'm talking a little bit about that gun shield on Gibraltar for the point man plays. And that's, oh, I love that. I love that Dragonfire skin on the EVA 8. That's actually the one that I use. I love that one so much. Comes up on Cha-Cha-Cha with that Octane. Shield status still pretty good for him, so he can go for a couple more taps. He's going to finally get him cracked open. Need to step back, get the shields regenerated, make the play back up towards through the rest of the building. But you've got that high ground position. They're looking down. They're in a good spot. You have a very similar kit with the setup, having the Gibraltar for the bubble shield. So pushing up these stairs is very risky. They've kind of made a few attempts at it, but now it seems like they might end up getting pinched by a third party coming in from outside.
Yeah, you know when you're annoyed with your neighbor and you use your broom to hit the ceiling? This is like the next level of that. These neighbors are not happy with each other. Here we're seeing a push up the hill, or sorry, up to the next floor into this wonderful grow room, I gotta say, with all these plants. I'm a huge fan. But K7 Esports, I hesitate to say their names, but look at this. They just keep impressing me. Every time we watch them do their thing, their movement is super impressive. Seems like their comms are on point. And they're doing well in these straight-up fights that they're taking. EXO still around, as you can see. Wolfpack Arctic. They have to stop themselves. They have to stop themselves from counting money because they keep playing well. Bearclaw, they've been doing well today in business. In Athame, also they won our first game. So a lot of our teams that have been doing well are near the top. EXO in a firefight here, and we only have 6 squads left.
Now Rocky dropped down for some big bullet action. Ends up burning through the shield's going to step back a little bit. He gets knocked. That's EXO wiped out by Wolfpack Silver Sky. So that's looking over at Wolfpack Shadow as we are now following him on that Gibraltar shield. Getting peeled, comes up over with a flat line. Has that purple mag for lots of bullets, but not quite able to get the knock. Both of them trade each other's shields. Okay, there's the finish. Nice grab there. Gets Roy TV as well. And now we go back over. Wolfpack Shadow, it's just Easy Flash coming back over, trying to save the 2 teammates. Got the Gibraltar and the Bloodhound knocked down. Gibraltar comes up the elevator shaft. So Easy Flash is going to drop down on that Wraith. Shield swap. Sprays with the R301 up close. Still has a little bit left in the tank and is able to get it done. Finishes off a whoa. And that is enough for her to get that finish. But can she pick up the teammates? No. They're going to have to be left behind. And now you're in that awkward playing for placement. Your 3 squads left, so you know there's 2 teams. The ideal scenario if your Wolfpack Shadow is you're going to need Athames and Wolfpack Arctic to go at it. You're going to need those two to fight and really cut into each other before you're able to get done what you need to do. This circle finish, though, is quite... I don't know. This is a stressful place for it to end, man. You've got the bridge over the lava. There's really not a tremendous amount of cover outside of that little building, or I should say the rubble of one. And Nutsura-sama coming up with that flat line. This is the little tappy toes we've seen from him. He's got that Kraber at the same time, so no charge rifle in this game, but he's been landing some good sniper shots throughout today's games.
Yeah, your Caustic hero, your Caustic player, once again, making it to the final stages of a game. This should be a two-team race here. This should be between Athame and Wolfpack Arctic. And again, Wolfpack Arctic, this is the third game in a row where they're just taking it, and they're taking this tournament into their hands right now, playing extremely well in the last two games, and keeping it up in this game is absolutely huge. I believe Wolfpack Shadow is the team that only has one remaining. Pretty sure, but this should be a two-team fight here. As we have a chasm of fire involved in this circle. Not a lot of space for cover. Pretty open area. Yeah, it is Wolfpack Arctic full team up. Wolfpack Shadow with just one player remaining. So this would be. We're going to get a repeat winner, finally. This is going to be the first game today where we're going to have a team that has won twice. Unless Wolfpack Shadow, the solo, can win this somehow, which I would retire from video games if that happened. Just kidding.
Anything is possible, right? And it's Friday. People are feeling it all around the world, getting excited, getting ready for the weekend. Gonna chill, watch some people rip each other's spines out in Mortal Kombat, maybe, but... Oh, we gotta get a lot of Apex this weekend too. Wolfpack Arctic throwing the grenades, quite a few, and as you see, all three of them with that level 5 Evo shield fully powered up. Right? Zeratas, yeah, I feel like the opportunity should be there for Zeratas. Oh, did he catch? Has he figured it out?
That's the solo though.
Yeah, I was gonna say, did he catch Windifer? Oh, a little bit distracted. Shield's completely ripped off there.
I'm surprised there wasn't a push on the other side. Man, both these teams just playing super safe. Those grenades, they all hit. It felt like all of them hit. That team that's inside there, they're trapped, and they're going to have to run. They're getting an ultimate on top of them. They're going to get knocked down. Wolfpack Arctic, they've got it. Too easy. Look at that. They just wiped them in a second.
And there it is. Wolfpack Arctic clapping hard here, and they are going to get their second dub. So we do get to see that the little bit of dominance being exercised, being flexed out here in day one of the APAC South Grand Finals. We were talking about it. We do 8 rounds today, 8 rounds tomorrow, but these guys have just been absolutely stellar. They're the most consistent that we've seen, getting deep into all of these games. But most importantly, they don't just get there by camping. They don't just get there by hiding somewhere. They're not really that shy to seek out a couple of fights here and there and take quite a few frags on the way through. So that was just really well done. And, you know, I got to give the little shout out as well to Wolfpack Shadow. They've kind of been in Wolfpack Arctic's shadow, but they've still been able to, I think, have a really nice impact, and they should be walking away with some points here after this round.
Yeah, impressive all around. Man, this is turning into the day for Wolfpack Arctic. K7 Esports, though, not to be ignored with their hilarious names. That's another pretty good game from them. And they were in second to last place not too long ago, a few games ago. So good to see them kind of turning things around. But at the end of there, almost a formality. Wolfpack Arctic just playing it so well. Remember all those grenades they threw in there? The other team just completely caught, nowhere really to run, and then an ultimate just to flush them out from Gibraltar, and then that led to victory from Wolfpack Arctic. So you don't have to be a mathematician to kind of guess that Wolfpack Arctic, they're probably going to be in a really nice position in our standings as we get into the next game.
Yeah, no, they're absolutely dominating, and I'm sure the results will reflect that. We're going to take a look at them after this short break. You're watching the GLL Spring Masters. We'll be right back. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are live here with the GLL Spring Masters. I'm Nathanius, joined by Axel Toss, as we are going into match 7 of 8 today. There are 16 total, though. This is only the first half of the game. Second half will be tomorrow. And after we are done today, Alex, there's going to be even more Apex for everybody to watch. Isn't that right?
Yeah,
here on twitch.tv/GLL Apex. There's Apex Legends going on nearly all day today. And you might be like, but Axel Toss, we don't live in the same region. We probably don't live in the same time zone. How can you say all day? Well, guess what? If it's all day, it applies everywhere in the world. And I'm actually literally Apex Legends might be on all day on this channel. So if you like Apex Legends, this is the place to be today and tomorrow. We're nearly halfway through our 16 total games. We're nearly done with the day. 2 games left today as we get into the pointage from that last contest. Wolfpack Arctic breaking away from everyone. Wolfpack Shadow not too far behind in that game. EXO, I've seen some Aussies in the chat cheering on EXO, but not doing what they need to so far today. So we'll have to see if they can turn that around. But I think this will take us to our overall standings. And I'm not a mathematician, but Wolfpack Arctic should be at the top. Yes, they are. 98 points, 51 kills, making me think of SKT1 and their dominance a little bit. We are trash, 49 points, 46, 45, 42, 41. Not too much difference between second and sixth, and even 7th, 8th, and 9th, and 10th, but clearly Wolfpack Arctic. Yeah, almost double second place. Actually, exactly double.
Yeah, this is where you finish strong. You've got 2 rounds to go today. You walk if you finish the day 50 points ahead of second place, I think you're feeling pretty good about yourself there. That's an ideal scenario. Obviously, at this rate, sorry, I'm getting so excited. They could actually end up finishing with an even bigger gap than that too, right? If We Are Trash doesn't close it, if somebody else can't catch up, and Wolfpack Arctic gets another first or second place with 10 plus kills, like what are you gonna do? You're gonna get buried, and there's still 8 games tomorrow. Like there's still the same theoretical maximum number of games and points that you could make tomorrow that you would have otherwise made today. But that's not really how momentum works, right? You don't just get to completely forget everything that happened. And we've really seen Wolfpack Arctic step into the leader role in this match, because there were quite a few teams that came in looking strong, good previous results like Team Grape, but unfortunately, those guys went from being on top to becoming a flop, as they've had a gross amount of inconsistency in their ability to even just make it to the late game. Forget getting a lot of kills. They just haven't even been able to make it that far. A couple of the rounds, they were one of the first teams to die. So hoping to see an adjustment from Grape on that as well.
Yeah, and I've said it before, you kind of have to have impetus. You have to have a moment where you are taking initiative. And that's almost a game state in Apex Legends, right? Where you're in a position to look for fights. You're in a position to third party other fights. You're kind of in the Bloodhound Hunter mode, where you are taking initiative and looking for fights and looking for kills and finding them. And that's kind of what Wolfpack Arctic has been doing. Not only have they been winning, they've been able to tack on a lot of kills, take a lot of good fights, just playing a really good, complete game. As we've been saying, though, there's a ton of games. There's a ton of rounds, 16 in total. We're nearly halfway through. So whatever happens today can easily be undone tomorrow. That's just how it works. That's why you have halftime. First half today, first half tomorrow. So still a long game, a long couple days for all these teams on the map. In theory, every single team that we're seeing right now on the map is in contention, if they can just put together some big games. But yeah, Nathanius, I think we're just looking out for those teams we're expecting to do a little bit better and seeing if they can find one of those element games where they're just able to put everything together. They're able to rack up some kills. Everything kind of goes their way. Maybe the ring is favorable for the team. They're able to third party. Again, the point being, get that high placement, but also getting a lot of kills. That might be a requirement now. That earlier, it might not have been as necessary, but now that Wolfpack Arctic is opening up such a significant lead, these other top teams have to be thinking, okay, now it's time. We got to get kills. We got to get good placement. We're no warm-up excuse anymore. We're done with the warm-up excuses 6 matches in. So, yeah, it pretty much makes a pretty exciting environment here, where we're definitely looking out for Wolfpack Arctic. But these last 2 games, really look out for one of our other top teams to really try to put in a ton of effort to put together a lot of kills.
Yes, sirree. You know, I love everything that you said. I've been very anxiously looking at SA because you know they've had they've been riding the struggle bus. I think is the most polite way that I can say it. And I was hoping to see if they could. If
Yeah,
they
they're
could
in the
get
north.
it, you know,
They're up
get the
top right now.
train back on the tracks or whatever it is. Get the Hot Wheel car back on the little fake track if you have to. It's been a very difficult match for them, but they were like one of the first teams to get killed in almost every single round that
Yep.
we've had today. So I've just been very anxiously watching them as we have yet to have
EXO
that fight
EXO is not far from them right now. I don't want to ruin your fantasies about Sweet Assist having a nice game, but EXO looks to be pretty close to them. So more developments on that later. Looks like we have a skirmish happening between 3 teams. It's probably a mess right now because we're still early in the game, so it's probably not best to get a too close of a look at it. But we're seeing it unfold from above.
Yeah, it's just one of those things that happens. So we did have our first squad wipe happen. It wasn't in this fight, so that looks like it's that's Wolfpack Shadow. That's Wolfpack Shadow up against K7 Esports with It does look like Cha was killed at the beginning of that one, so he got thirsted a little bit. Roy E is trying to run from Wolfpack Shadow at the moment. I think found himself in a safe place, but we did have a squad get wiped. Bear Claw Gaming actually taken out very early here, so and pour one out for Sweet Assist as they did manage to. They've made it a little bit further than last time, and I'm going to keep cheering for them because I love them. And some scraps happening down by Harvester, looks like. A little bit of an engagement. As we look at Team Grape, these were the guys we were talking about. ALGS, APAC South champions. Won a ton of dodge from that. And, of course, some seeding for the next season. But they haven't been particularly strong today. It's been a little shaky. In the semifinals, they came in 6th place in their semi in order to qualify. So they just kind of barely slid in here. And it wasn't a bad performance, but they weren't really able to get done what they wanted. And yeah, that repeater, I don't know about you, but that gun just does not work when it's in my hands. No, thank you. Hard pass.
Definitely not. Agree. That was also another confusing look. It was a repeater, but then a flatline and a shotgun. Anyway, very surprised to see the repeater. I certainly don't use it much. I'd rather have almost any other gun in my hands. Here, look, it's Sweet Assist. Looked like they were able to take out a team. Let's go. Excited to see that. And meanwhile, Athame and Direwolves down to 1 on their team, and also K7 Esports, our heroes.
Yeah.
K7 Esports quickly became chat favorites, by the way. They're down to 1, unfortunately, and I believe the 2 entertaining names have been down. So we'll keep an eye on that. But a few teams running into some early mishaps. I mean, K7 Esports, Direwolves, and Athame, all 3 teams somewhat in contention.
It looks like they just have 1 player alive. Those 3 teams have 1 player alive too.
It's not great. Not a great spot to be in to have one alive at this point in the game.
Sometimes going for the res can feel like ringing the dinner bell, right? But sometimes you get the mobile beacon. Sometimes if people are spread out and they don't want to go into the open, you can get that res. We did see it happen on more than one occasion in APAC North, but like you're saying, that was basically W key, the tournament. We've got a Gibraltar. He's just hanging out, you know. This is when you're a dire wolf. You know, it's like in Game of Thrones. When the other dire wolves were gone and there was only one, it just disappeared, right? They just never showed it ever again because it costs too much budget to animate it. So that's kind of what's happening right now. Bullet L is just going to chill there and probably not get any more screen time. Sorry, guys. Those dragons cost $2 million a second. That's just the way it is.
Yeah. He got his 10 seconds of fame. No worries. We'll have to see if he makes it any further in this game. We see EXO on our screen here. These are the Aussies. They're looking for a breakout game. They need it to happen either this game or next game. They absolutely must come up with a big result. They have not won today. I don't even know if they've gotten top 3 today. And they did so well in the semifinals. So a lot of teams looking out for them to do a little bit better. Here we're seeing a nice look at the ultimate from Bloodhound to graze everything out. And puts enemies highlighted in red. Lets you take those shots a little bit easier. R301 with the 3 time. I mean, that's good for like getting some damage and upgrading your shields or something, but that's not gonna. It's not like a Kraber. It's not gonna take anyone out. So looks like X team, and we're gonna switch over to them. And I believe EXO was just taking some playful shots, not really looking to engage just yet. So keep an eye on that. Back to Sweet Assist. See a Sentinel in the hands of Gibraltar. Only 107 damage. Oh, 107 damage left to upgrade his shields, but he gets caught from behind. It happens to the best of us. Sweet Assist, no. Now his teammates are going to return to try to help save him.
It's caught a little bit out there.
Oh, no. He's just caught.
Moonlight Tears taken out. Let's swap over to inside the ring. And we look at Emiliazzi. This was our Horizon player. We had unfortunately forced to kind of camp on a boulder in one of those earlier rounds, you may remember. But this has been one of the more interesting compositions that we've seen, right? Because they're running, it's not just Horizon, but they also have Octane and Revenant. So instead of a Gibraltar, they've got 2 mobility and mobility boosting characters, but also Revenant, you're going to have the silence capabilities. But more importantly, if you want to try to trade with another team and not risk yourself, Revenant's ultimate, right? Using the Death Totem, running forward, just kind of YOLOing it. And then if it doesn't work, it doesn't really matter. You go back to the totem. Hopefully nobody destroyed it. Hopefully nobody's camping it. And then you just move on with your life and try to play the rest of the game out a little more safely.
Dude, was that not an identical chase scene from what we saw last game?
It was literally the exact same chase scene.
Am I tripping right now?
That's
literally...
It's not lagging that bad. It actually happened twice. Okay, you're good. You're good.
Okay, that's pretty crazy. Love seeing those bloodhounds making the hunt happen. NLN, the team we've been talking about today, running into an enemy team. Gonna back it up a little bit. Try not to get sandwiched. It's getting a little tight here towards the ring. A lot of these teams having to rotate in some pretty awkward positions. So NLN in a little bit of dire straits here. Looks like they're fighting against inside the ring. You see that ultimate coming down from the Revenant.
Yeah, and he's got that Death Totem. You can see that, of course, to the burning health bar. So he's moving around. He's trying to take advantage of this opportunity as best he can before the reset happens. And there it is. Emiliazzi was knocked, however. So a bit of an intense, scrappy fight when you're looking at the way that was set up. Emiliazzi actually does get finished off by Big Z from Team Wolfpack Shadow. That is not the Wolfpack that's leading. It is just the other. There are 2 Wolfpacks because in real life that's how it works. There's not just one that controls all the woods in the world. That would be illegal. It comes up with the Mastiff though, as we've got SQL off of it with that Octane. And I think that's one of my favorite things about the Gibraltar popularity is that bubble doesn't just stop bullets from coming in. It does also stop them from going out. So you can kind of play tappy toes around people who are trying to do revives in there. You can try to throw grenades inside. It's not 100% free benefit just for you and nobody else.
Yeah. In discovering that, I don't envy anyone who tried to throw a grenade outside of the shields. Doesn't work. You can't throw grenades through it. You will just hurt yourself. So don't try to do that. Or that moment where you're trying to throw a grenade and then your teammate who's a Gibraltar throws a bubble on top of you and you...
No, it's when you're throwing your caustic ult as he drops the bubble on you without pinging or saying anything, and then your ult gets, then you're basically just trapped a fart in a balloon and you're like, well, this was very, very efficient use of my ultimate.
It's like Wraith put a portal and go find someone. I don't know. I don't know what to do here.
You don't want that. You don't want that to happen. You don't want that to happen. Trust me. It's a bad time. It's a bad time all the time. So Wolfpack Shadow, like we've been talking about, these guys actually made it very deep in a couple of these rounds, but they haven't really had the same kill scores as Wolfpack Arctic. They've been able to get the good placement points, though. I think they're still very much alive in this tournament, especially if they can keep it up. Catching up with Arctic will not be easy for anybody, though, as we take a look at that.
Oh, no.
Wizzy does get knocked.
What?
Kind of an awkward area to be. There's a lot of scaffolding kind of hanging around, little train cart people play in and out of. So there's the Gibraltar bubble for the quick res. Yeah, Zaratas is coming up top. Very low.
Exo.
Gets the shield swap. Yeah, that's Exo in the upper little building, floating scaffold building thing.
They must have gotten the knock, and I'm so surprised they didn't push there. There's some moments where we see a knock happen or we see a lot of pressure, but no push happening from there. You know, maybe it means these teams are playing a little bit safer. Obviously, there's another team in the vicinity, so don't want to get third-partied. But that could have been a moment for EXO to push on a Wolfpack Arctic, especially getting a man down there to try to close that down and get a squad wipe. But they're chilling. They're staying in these you know, elevated buildings, kind of just picking a spot and holding it down and electing to play it safe. Again, I'm a little surprised about that. I feel like EXO's in a position where they haven't won today. They're not doing well in the standings. If they knock someone, they need to finish the fight. They need to go for the squad wipe. So I guess I'd like to see EXO be a little bit more aggressive here, but they're just trying to play safe.
Yeah, it's important to keep in mind, like we said, there are 8 total rounds today, but it's only the first half of the grand finals. So you might feel a little bit of that pressure. They might feel like they haven't been able to get it done, but if they're too aggressive, any early dropouts it would be super painful here. We can see the traps being left behind by Nutsura-sama, the Caustic player for Team ATH. Kind of closes off that area. You can have 6 traps out on the field at once, right, with Caustic. So good. Worst case scenario, even if you don't hit anybody with it, if someone destroys one, you kind of know that someone's near a little bit. But they are very close, by the way. Yanis and the rest of his team is right outside where that team is.
It's always awkward. You got a team right on you, and you got to make a decision. Do you engage? Do you keep running? What do you do? More on that later. We're seeing X team here. We got the Bloodhound, Layhem in our sights, Gibraltar and Octane on standby, pursuing a team, and seems like they're doing a pretty good job. Took out one player, and there might be 2 up, maybe just 1, and they're going to try to track them down and get some more kills and get some more points. It's a lot of inaccessible land area in this circle at the end here. So that's going to tighten up a lot of these. Yeah, it's going to tighten up a lot of these areas outside of these cliffs. So should be a pretty interesting end game here.
Yeah, it's a bit weird, right? Because you still have some of this. Almost looks like a harvester setup with the way that the building is. A lot of very spacious kind of covers and blocks. Huge open paths of terrain from being able to see one another. So there's certainly some cover that these players can work with to a degree, but it's not super simple. We got INV kind of shooting down from that center platform.
A little split up too.
Watching the flank. I was going to say, you kind of have to spread out to cover all of the possible angles that people can take. And there's K7. We see Sayajin taking some shots over towards woo.
Yay.
And here we have Kizik. So Team Grape, they are still in it, not early eliminated this time. Something that I think we're just going to keep pointing out because the expectations for them coming into this were a little bit higher than the performance thus far. Kizik has a shot.
No
Not
shot.
Taking it quite yet. Okay, there he goes. 48 is the number that we see.
Look at how exposed they were. So that was y'all watching at home might be able to learn from that. Probably not though, because I'm sure you guys watching in chat are all amazing at Apex. But what just happened there was he had the shot. It can take a lot of patience and maturity to, you know, be patient there and not take the shot when he had it. What he was doing was he was telling his teammates he had the shot so that all of them can shoot at once. If you have the shot and you just shoot, I mean, that's great and all, but if your teammates are all shooting with you at the same time, you're amplifying your element of surprise by 3, and you're outputting your damage by that scale also. So just a little thing, very little thing there that was pretty important that that found some success.
Yeah. And when we take a look at team, we got PK,
Kraber.
Little Flame, Hiei, and Takei-san on that Kraber. Looking at the portals, trying to see if anybody's going to come crawling out of that. Looking out. The team's kind of covering the side angles. I'd love to see a money Kraber shot. We haven't had a tremendous number of those. There's been a couple of good sniper shots so far today, but not enough, you know. Never going to ask for less sniper shots like that. You know what I mean?
And we only have the compound bow on the way as we see Wolfpack Arctic. I was going to say in dire straits, but let's see if they can get out of this situation. They're throwing a bubble, but they're feeling a little bit of pressure. EXO, that's EXO. I think they're pushing in there looking for
they're going to third party.
Wolfpack's coming into third party, jumping down off towards that bottom side. Gibraltar Ultimate's going to come raining in as well. Kazance still has that Evo Shield mostly charged up, about halfway down now, but he's still getting it done, ripping and tearing through the opponent. 26 rounds on that gold bolt mag, as he's got lots of bullets to shoot out there. And this is a really good position to be in. He's not only able to get that cover spot and to cut off one of the flanks that they had open by eliminating the side, but also being able to come in on top of the opposing players' death boxes, grab the armor swaps before the opponents can, and really help clear this area out. So another great take by Wolfpack Arctic, and as we've seen, there's a reason why they are dominantly in first place thus far in today's matches.
Yeah, and not too much trouble at all during that fight. Like, if you look at their shields and their health, not much movement at all in that engagement. So really nicely timed, and also it kind of shows they're playing with confidence, and it's working. Wolfpack Arctic very close to running away with this tournament here for the APAC South region. But we know there are a lot of capable teams in this lobby, so we're still waiting for these other teams to really make a stand. We see EXO knocked out there. Not great for them, our favorite Aussie team. We see Grape, though, still involved. They've had some good results today. But Wolfpack Arctic, you almost can't ignore them if you've been trying to. They've been refusing to let their team name be anywhere but the top of our leaderboard and the top of our standings. So let's see if they can continue that success.
PK cleared out to KSN, not able to close it over there as Team Grape comes back over with 4 squads remaining. There's the shield battery getting popped by the Wraith. And as we've been talking about Axel toss back and forth over and over these late game situations, this is where we haven't been able to see Grape. They haven't really been patient enough to make it to this stage, but now that they have done it, now that they've gotten this far, we've seen some pretty good movement out of them. I think dropping down can be a little bit questionable. They're looking for the fight, but they've given up that high ground cover. Gibraltar immediately gets knocked there, so Bunny Hop taken down, and there you go. Team Grape, the first time that they make that move in to come in and try to take that final fight, they get clapped, and Invade Esports is going to grab the round 7 dubs. So a huge win for them. I mean, that was just one of those late games that was fun. We got to see the best teams in the game make it super deep. Team Wolfpack Arctic, those guys have just been absolutely out of control. I would not be surprised if their kill count is still some stupidly large number at the end of all of it. But as we start the highlight reel, gotta show a sweet assist. Shout out to those guys getting something done in today's matches so far.
Yeah, another exciting game, but we're kind of saying the same things now towards the end of these games. And what that is Wolfpack Arctic and this team. More business as usual from them. We're seeing them on our screen right now. We saw a few times they picked some really good engagements. I think like the good news there for every other team is that Wolfpack Arctic didn't win that game. We're going to see again how that kind of finished off, but you see this open area is kind of extremely chaotic. Invade coming in from the right-hand side, coming in there, and everyone in the middle there, you see Wolfpack Arctic kind of stuck underneath that ultimate. There's nowhere to run. Invade just waited, took their time, and then swooped in once that fight was underway. Wolfpack Arctic was kind of caught outside in the storm a little bit, and they were being edge-guarded when they were trying to come in. So I think the good news for the rest of the field is that Wolfpack Arctic didn't win that, but the bad news is they still got a fair amount of points, I believe, from that game.
Well, that's the reason why they've been doing so well, is they've been getting crazy amounts of kills every game. We're going to tally the scores and show you the results after this short break. We'll be right back. You're watching the GLL Spring Masters. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are still here, still chugging along with the Apex Legends APAC South region for the GLL Spring Masters. I'm Nathanius, joined by Axel Toss. We have one more match. I believe we're going into match 8 now. So we're getting to that halfway point to see who's going to take first place in APAC South.
Yes, and the day started with a lot of different results, but now the day is ending, at least for the APAC South region, with one team clearly at the top. More on that in a second. First, we have results from the most previous game. Invade Esport, 24 points in total, 12 kills, 12 from placement, getting first place. Grape not too far behind. That's a good result for Grape. They're going to be happy with that. They're going to be in contention at least a little bit. Wolfpack Arctic, though, in that third spot. They're just, they're dictating the story today. They're making the subject about them. They are the protagonist. they get all the cred right now because they deserve it. 114 points. Are you kidding me? I can't even do that math. 114 minus 52. They are well ahead of second place. We are trash in second.
More than double.
Yeah.
More
Grape
than
in
double.
third. I mean, it's close amongst, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth. The rest of the field is close, but Wolfpack Arctic, way at the top.
Yeah, that's going to turn into a race for second place if Wolfpack Arctic is able to win another match to cap things off today, because they've just been so consistent. Even yes, they've won 2 matches, but in all of the matches that they don't win, they're pretty much guaranteed to be at the top of the leaderboard anyway. Case in point, Invate Esport may have won that round, but they're sitting at 9th place with 40 points. Wolfpack Arctic was right next to them. And of course, they're picking up the majority of the kills. Second highest kill count by any of the teams here is 31, I think is what I'm seeing on this leaderboard. So 31 versus 58. That's where you make up a huge gap, but it's also from those placement points, because it's 38-point difference doesn't give you double over second place. Just absolutely incredible gameplay that we've been seeing out of Wolfpack Arctic, and Wolfpack Shadow's been doing really well too. It was nice to see Grape finally make it to top 4 again, but man, they're going to really need to come in swinging hard this round and every single round tomorrow, because it's not going to get easier. They've got quite a hill to climb.
Well, and again, as we've been mentioning, everything that is done today can be undone tomorrow, right?
Yes.
That's literally how it works. First half today, second half tomorrow. So there's another team that could step up and just have an amazing day tomorrow and be right back in this. So, but Wolfpack Arctic getting off to an incredible start here in our APAC South region. Another reminder, guys, there's Apex Legends happening on this channel all the time this weekend. This is the start of the marathon. Shout out to the production staff who's actually manning the ship for the whole thing, 17-hour shifts or something. Shout out to them for doing an awesome job in the observers all day.
We got 2 more regions today, guys. 2 more regions coming up.
So there we go. There's shout out, that's a great shot. Shout out to production, but in our observers. But yeah, guys, make sure you stay tuned to this. But we're almost done. This is our last game of the day for our region. But we have another region coming on next on this stream, and then another region after that on this stream. And then guess what happens after that? Well, me and Nathanius are going to be back here tomorrow. So with 3 in the morning, we'll be right back. And then it all starts again. So buckle up. I'm having a great time. I hope you guys are having a great time too. If you're on twitch.tv/GLL Apex, make sure you drop a follow and stay tuned to as much Apex Legends as you want, because again, there's no shortage of it here.
No, absolutely not. And if you were getting tired of it, if you were like, I don't like the meta, I don't like it when things stay the same, don't worry. Everything's about to change too. If you're for Apex Legends, man, I'm super excited. The new season coming out super soon. We're going to have Valkyrie in the game. I'm going to be jetpacking all over the place, blowing stuff up, trying to fire the arrows and missing every single one of them while my team reports me. As per usual, of course, as it would have happened with any other weapon, and arenas. I'm so excited. I'm so excited for arenas. I need more practice with this, and I need those fights more. I need more fights. And as our observer says, Loba meta. That's right. So everybody get ready. We got to get all the black markets running and everything like that.
And that's just
show me the money.
And that's just a week from now, right? Not too far away at all. And I guess there's a reason all these Apex Legends matches are happening in such a short time frame, because we're getting ready for that next season and for those updates to hit. So this is kind of a culmination of what has been Apex Legends up to this point. Who are going to be our top teams? And for now, once again, we're seeing Arctic, the Wolfpack Arctic, just absolutely leading the charge here in the APAC South region. Again, plenty of time for other teams to bring it back, but we shall see. We see a top central location for that ring. So pretty big rotation is going to have to happen for a lot of these teams. Fan favorites in the bottom right. Nathanius is the expert in saying their names. K7 Esports. They have probably the longest way to go, and here they are, the dream duo.
Yeah, so yeah, Roy on the back end on the way out of Dome. I think he just caught sight of the other team that's just not too far behind them. While and Cha make their way to Lava City. As well, there's nobody there, so there's not much risk. They're going to be able to make their way pretty smoothly, I think, back up towards where the circle is going to end up being. There's a couple of choke
on
points,
top
but
of each other, dude. I don't know why I find that so funny, but they not only are their names ridiculous, but they were literally on top of each other for a moment there, like they're like the dream duo ready to take on the world.
Spitfire goes cha. There you go. I feel like the Spitfires, when you make the fire sound for it, though, it has to end with the sound of someone complaining, doesn't it? I feel like that's also kind of built in nowadays as well. So, but we'll see about that. I'm sure chat will be able to fill those sound effects in for us when we see some Spitfires killing people later on in.
It looks like in
round.
the trials area, we might have a little skirmish unfolding.
ATH and PK, quite close proximity. Coming down, we've got EA on the flat line, getting a couple of good shots in there. I mean, both of them have gold armor between him and Little Flame. Little Flame does get his shields peeled off, trying to get towards where that Gibraltar is. On the other side, has the thermite grenade ready, trying to create that space, but not really able to get it done just yet. Little Flame, very close to getting knocked. He does get knocked. EA's knocked. Decay and Sun doing everything that he can to try and create this opportunity to save his teammates. Don't think he has that bubble ready just yet. If he can get it, though, you need it. If he can get that bubble down, that's what he needs right now. It's a little bit tricky with how messy this is because Jack Cute is still right here on that rig.
Yeah, 1v1.
Tragically, Nitsura-sama was taken out, so no more opportunities for gas bombs. Runs in with that EVA 8. He gets one clap going for the second on the Gibby. 54. Ducks to the outside. And that's just really good control. You go just a little tap it in with that EVA 8. And you know what they say, Axel Toss, it's all in the hips. And there was some good movement and sway in there out of Team ATH. Jack Cute coming in with the clutch for his squad.
And we know that's the forte for the Wraith, just that the quick dynamic movement. She's able to minimize her hitbox quite a bit. And that's why she's so popular and has been so popular in Apex Legends. And if you're able to be very dynamic with that movement and capitalize on it, it makes it even more difficult. So we'll see what happens here. Very nicely played. And it was kind of a 1v1 situation there. But at the end of the day, that purple shield versus the blue shield, it's such a big deal. And it was also, if you think about it, Wraith versus Gibraltar, it's like biggest hitbox versus smallest hitbox, pretty much. So it was kind of a tough situation all around. And kudos to our Wraith player there coming out on top. That'll be our first little skirmish of the game here, as we have 17 squads still remaining. Everyone will be happy to know, Nathanius, you'll be thrilled about this. Sweet assist. They remain alive. Not only that, they're pretty nicely positioned within our ring that we're able to see here. So we'll have to see if this can be a game changer, a day changer for Sweet Assist.
Yeah, we've had some pretty good variety as far as the circles go. And I feel like this one's a little bit of more of a unique one that we've had today, too, coming up by mostly where those train tunnels are, right? In Northwest Epicenter, North Fragment. But there's a decent variety of areas still open. There's a lot of buildings at Skyhook that people can still go hide inside of if they want to do that. It could end up rotating that way. You can't be 100% sure. Twizzy's coming out on the side, though. Has that grenade ready, throwing arc stars. There's nothing more satisfying than sticking someone with an arc star.
Agreed.
Yeah, that's one of the best.
It's like the plasma grenade in Halo, right?
That and Caustic's punch finisher, where he just gets really angry. You know, that's just something very visceral about that. But you kind of expect that. You kind of expect that answer from me. So it's not super unique. Moonlight Tears taken out. Team SA have not been having the easiest time today, but they've been making it. They've been making it a little bit further. They've been making it a little bit faster, a little bit better. Don't know if he's going to get the banner or the recovery on save B, but Complexes on that Wraith just doing their best to stay alive. Gets that Spitfire, has the EVA 8. Not much more you need than that other than, well, to land your shots. You're gonna have to take a fight at some point and try to make a play for that box, right? You can't just leave it.
And here's that Revenant squad again. And I believe an ultimate just happened. Looks like they just had a fight. And they're still alive, so I don't know if they wiped anyone, but it looks like they have a team near them. Yep, there the shots coming in. Purple shield for the Octane's gonna be happy about that, but Emiliazzi here, the Horizon player, no shields effectively. Needs to do a little bit better in that department, so might not be willing to take this engagement quite yet. It's not too hard to get up to that blue shield to do the damage required to do that, but look at that, full purple shields over there though, so got to be really careful with that. They're probably going to tactically retreat. Evasive tactics. Don't want to run into that.
We had a couple games ended right here where things just got absolutely wild and nasty. So the rotations around this point generally lead to that because there's a decent amount of loot to be found. There's a decent amount of cover to work with. It's not a bad spot. If you take a look at the team tracker with 3 teams eliminated, Noir is out, PK is out, and the Tear Gas Warriors have very sadly been defeated. They will not have their opportunity to. I don't know. They don't even have a caustic on their team, so I'm just gonna move past that. We've got Wolfpack Arctic though. Take another look at these guys. Zartas coming down on the Wraith, has that R301, unloads that full clip, 90 damage, trying to land the knock tag off of that Mastiff, but it's a little bit far. And there's Complex. Oh, actually, that was the finish off on Complex. Never mind. I'm just literally blind. And great job picking that off. I was going to say, the R301 taking out pretty much all the hit points. It's like, if one of those shotgun shells hit, that will do it. And it did. It did work perfectly. So a nice grab there. Unfortunately, as the solo player, that does mean I think that SA has been eliminated from this round.
Rest in peace. Hey, you know, K7 Esports, our heroes. By the way, I think I saw them involved in the kill feed. They opened up today, like in last place, and then I think they won one, right? So, sweet assist. Come back tomorrow, and I'm sure maybe they'll have a better day tomorrow. We've seen that it's possible to not fare well, but then be able to turn it around and find some kills and a win. So. Maybe we'll see Sweet Assist have a better day tomorrow, but they're out for now. Down and out.
Yeah, well, there's always a chance to bounce back in the second half of the matches tomorrow. However unlikely it may seem, that's why the tournament gets played. That's why we don't stop the tournament halfway through the grand finals. We can't just end it right now because unfortunately, Axitas, there are still games to be played and still results to be tallied as we have X team trying to make the engage. Bloodhound goes for a little bit of power slide action into the train cart, but Wraith was more than ready to meet him as we look at the Gibraltar coming in, trying to go for the save and is not able to do it. Taken out by Knight from Team NLN, one of the stronger teams that we had coming into this. They've also been a little bit on the inconsistent side. Golden Cat Gaming now here. However, they did win one of the rounds earlier. We've had our eyes on them. Not someone to completely sweep under the rug. They've done a really good job containing the teams over here at the edge of the map. So these guys have to be feeling good, have to be feeling strong. Both Wolfpack teams still alive. We are trash still in it. Athem still alive. So those are the teams that we've had our eyes on big time today. Direwolf picked up a round, still in it. And Team EXO, the Australian hopefuls that had quite a few fans coming in to lend their support. And a long discussion in Twitch chat about how everybody's apparently terrified to go there because of all the creepy crawlies and the drop bears, which, to be fair, I would not want to deal with a drop bear myself, so I totally get that. And over here, just way out in the gas, they're just chilling. You know, it's that's Wolfpack Shadow. So there's 2 Wolfpack teams, so they're just way out yonder. And Kazance is watching the south entrance to tunnels. So Zeratas and Twizzy are actually holding down 2v3 right now, but that's because Team ATH is actually being pinched by them. And I believe that might be, I believe that's We Are Trash on East Skyhook. That's got them kind of locked out of that position. Meanwhile, that next circle is going to close in on the very north end of the tunnel. So those tunnels become very important in this situation. Locking them down and gatekeeping out of here is going to cut off the flank path once the circle closes in over the bottom end of that tunnel.
Now we're looking at Wolfpack Arctic in the tunnel over here, and to note, EXO is a little bit north of this position, and they seem to be pretty close to another team. So there's quite a few teams in this area, I suppose, to be expected as we're getting to the final moments here of our last game of the day. Remember, we have 8 more matches tomorrow. We're just approaching halftime here, and it looks like EXO is close to Invade. We saw Invade win in the last game. I believe it was the last game. So that's going to be a tricky fight, but both those teams in a very good position in the context of the storm, as we're seeing mayhem over here. Gibraltar ult in the distance. Octane trying to jump out of there. 2 men down for Naha. Just the Bloodhound remaining, and I'm afraid, I have a feeling a lot of these teams are hurting. I feel like we have just a few full squads left, as it says 13 squads up there, and we're getting to a smaller and smaller ring here as all these teams.
It looks like it might have been a connectivity issue there with the Naha player that you're talking about. As we go back over towards K7, we've got Cha moving up towards the bubble with he's got the Volt R99, but look at that purple stabilizer, mag, stock. These are all of the things that you need to have a good time when you're playing Apex Legends. Get those add-ons, get everything rolling together, make those sprays a little bit more tight contained, make it a little bit easier to get your taps in. Of course, with the R99, not necessarily the tap weapon, but you know, well, when you've got not much else to use, you work with what you have.
Oh, whoa, needs 21 damage to get to that purple shield. That's it. Just 21 damage, the Gibraltar player on K7 Esports. So he's going to be looking out for that. We have 3 teams in business here. Wolfpack Arctic is included in this mix. Also have a blue shield on their team. Meanwhile, there's another team coming in and looking to engage onto K7 Esports. Let's see who's going to come out on top here. Very close, very contentious. Wolfpack Arctic, you've got to imagine they're going to third party this.
It's a tough spot to be in, right? There's not really a lot of cover for them. As we look at Arctic, here's Zeratas on that raid. He's been absolutely lethal with the R301 in all of his games today. Rocking the Mastiff on the secondary as well. Has the Void Run available if needed to get out. We see was able to take out Rikosin, and now we've got Cha on the Octane, stimming forward over towards where that ring is. It's a Volt R99, so no shotgun play here. Just a lot of spray and a little bit of prey. But with that speed, it's okay because he can disengage pretty easily too. That ultimate for Octane charges so fast. He's going to have another jump pad ready in absolutely no time at all. Drops down on top of the other. Gibraltar's going to get a great pick on Canasta. So actually really big pick there because they're taking down that top dog team in Wolfpack Arctic.
Cha has been knocked. He's down. K7 Esports. It feels like they're putting on a highlight reel. Like they've had some serious plays today, but one man getting dropped. This is absolutely chaotic here near the end of this round. 10 squads left. We're in the tunnel. There's not a lot of cover here. It's very close quarters. Caustic would have a field day, so look out for those traps if he's still around. But look at the kill feed. Absolutely insane. What's going on right now?
I'm very sad to report that Nitsuru Sama got wrecked earlier. I'm pretty sure. Feels bad, man.
No traps here.
Would have loved to see that noxious gas in the tunnels, but unfortunately, it feels like there's a pattern here. Maybe I don't know. Us Caustics are all just in denial, so I'm just gonna keep it that way. Never mind. Let's move on. Mix coming in with We Are Trash, holding that tunnel.
EXO, dude, if EXO is able to win this, that would be absolutely huge. By the way, Wolfpack Arctic, they're out. They got sandwiched. They were pulled in between a few teams, and they're out of here. Wolfpack Shadow, 1 man left. What an opportunity. Great, huge opportunity for them. And this is important because it's the last game of the day, Nathanius. So if you can finish here with a win, you're going to be feeling great going into tomorrow.
Yeah, and this can be your momentum reset. It can happen right here. It can happen at any point because there's still just 8 rounds left tomorrow to finish everything off. So Team EXO are looking for that. As you can see, he's got the R301, has that anvil receiver, keeping it in auto mode for the most part, of course. You want to try and get that, if you can keep your shots tracked, the DPS on that auto is still really good. The single point is not bad for taps or ammo conservation, but when you've got this much bullets or this many bullets, you'd rather just try and keep the pressure on as much as possible. So we might see that come into play later on. Of course, Eva 8 as the secondary, another fantastic call. Trying to track some shots over, but not really hitting a whole lot. And But we've seen a lot of teams actually get killed under this bridge before. This is a very weird spot because you can get dropped down on from either side. You don't necessarily want to set up your camp underneath that bridge.
It doesn't seem like EXO is under too much pressure here. It's other teams that are doing the fighting. Invade looks like they have the highest ground. Their shields are in a decent position, but we're seeing a fight here. EXO, oh no, as I say that, looks like they're running into a fight. One man from EXO got knocked, just ran into another team. Inexplicably, just ran into another team, caught completely by surprise, and now EXO left with 2 men up. See 4 squads remaining.
Sayajin had a good knock on him there. I think with that Gibraltar bubble, it should be able to get the res, but Invade Esport holding a nice position. Just having some cover naturally from the area around them is so important. The rest of the players are all mostly exposed. Sayajin comes back out. Gopgaps gets the down on Appraiser. They're able to finish off that squad. So it's EXO here and INV still fighting away at it, still trying to make this happen. Invade Esport inside the ring and EXO. Yeah, we're talking about on top of that bridge, or on top of the tracks, excuse me. So Miliazi on horizon, peeking up over the top of the tracks, gets that sonar scan, knows they're revealed. It's an awkward situation where you don't really have that space control ability that the Gibraltar would give you, right? You kind of traded that for the Revenant, not a very common pick. Not something that you see very often at all. Sayajin, though, getting some good shots in from that low ground, and Gopgaps coming in to try and end it off the Horizon ult that pulled everybody else in.
So it's just going to be Invade here. I believe EXO is not in a good position. They just got dropped, and that's another drop on EXO. Invade doing a great job from the high ground. So it's down to Invade inside the ring effectively. Only 2 up for inside the ring here, but using the Revenant ult, trying to make that effective, going for the res here. But Invade, they've got to push this. They're definitely going to push this. Invade, I think they're going to win 2 in a row here.
That's a big opportunity right now. There's that Revenant trying to go on the slide. Not able to get it done, though. And Invade Esports is going to pick up the final round of the day. A beautifully played series by them. And we talk about positioning. You talk about rotations. When the game starts really slow and everybody's like, well, you guys are just looking at the map. What are you doing? And we're like, well, people aren't fighting because they're trying to be aware of what's happening around them. You need to constantly have a plan for, you need your strategy for maneuvering. You need your exit strategy if that doesn't work out. That was that 6 shot from earlier with that Mastiff on the high ground, just finishing off that very weakened player from earlier. But when you play that slow style, when you play for your position and you think about where you want to be 5 minutes from now, not just right now, that's how you're able to get into those sweet spots where you have so much more cover naturally just because you got there first. And that circle gets very small. There's not a lot of room. INV, they were in the best position to win this game, and it just shows a lot of their composure and patience that they were able to actually get that dub.
Yeah, they were so tactical with their spacing and their movement, taking little pokes, little shots, not overcommitting, waiting for a third-party opportunity, waiting for some fighting to unfold from the other teams, making sure their shots are good. Just a really nice, complete play. I feel like a little unfortunate for EXO there. They were a bit sandwiched throughout the end game there, but they had a player just get completely caught. And that's always unfortunate. You want your full squad in action. You want to all have shields, have some backup supplies. That's kind of the situation you want to be in when you're entering these fights in the late game. And unfortunately, it just didn't work out for EXO there in the last game. But I feel like that was their best game of the day. So any fans out there on the out in Australia, I mean, again, tomorrow's another day. We've got the first half down, second half, same time, same place tomorrow.
They're gonna need Wolfpack Arctic to completely dumpster it, though. Like they're just gonna need to fall apart and collapse so badly to not keep that first place. And I'm still kind of scared. We're tallying the final results of the day today. So we'll have that update for you in a moment. But I am scared that Wolfpack Arctic score is just gonna shoot up off the end of that Axel toss because they've still just
I believe they were outside of the top 5 in that game, so we'll probably see a bit of a close on the gap. The question is going to be how are the kills distributed in that last game. We've seen how some teams who have really been able to stack the kills
just in one game can really shoot up the leaderboard and get a ton of points. So that can still happen tomorrow, right? With any of these top teams that we've been talking about, they have the ability to just take one game and just get a ton of kills, get the win. That can be absolutely huge for your points in the standings.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree with you anymore. Yeah, and there's just that.
We'll
that
see if it
late game
happens. It's
situation
not easy.
again. Yeah, it's incredibly tough. I mean, it was so much closer at this point for APAC North. Like everybody was incredibly tight with each other at the end of day one. And just to provide a little bit of clarity and context, if you're curious what I'm talking about here, the tournament format. I'm just going to briefly go over it real quick again. 8 games today. We just finished the 8th game. Tomorrow we're going to play the second half. So it's 16 total rounds, but playing 16 rounds in one day would be murder on these guys. So we take a break for the rest of the day. European, I believe the EU is going to start next, and then it's going to go NA on this channel. So there'll be plenty more Apex to watch. You don't have to go anywhere. They're bringing in some other commentators as well. And then, yeah, then we come back tomorrow, same time, same place. We play out the final 8 matches. Whoever has the most points at the end wins. There's no win condition other than just have more. So when they came into this round with double the points of second place, you have to ask yourself, can Wolfpack Arctic be stopped?
It's going to be very hard. However, if you like, they didn't do that well in the semifinal, right? I know it's just a semifinal, but like they didn't play near to this level in the competition. Straight up, there were 2 teams ahead of them in the semifinals. So I guess it's possible for them to have not a great day, but based on what we saw today, there's no reason to think they can't and they won't just run away with it. Just super solid, super consistent throughout the entire day. They had a few games where they just almost played on another level, where they racked up the kills and were winning in the top 3, which did really well for them. And that happened like kind of in the not the last match, but the matches 5, 6, and 7 is where they really took off. But that's what I'm saying. Like if any other team can just take 2 or 3 matches and have a tear, just have some huge momentum and just rack up those points, we can start seeing those gaps being closed. But the ball is definitely in the court of Wolfpack Arctic, and I think we're going to see that right now.
Yeah, I do believe that we have the scores ready from the final round and the total standings as well after. So this was for match 8 of 16. We are officially halfway done with the grand finals for APAC South. Obviously, taking first place in that round with placement was Invade Esports, but they also held the total point total for that round as they picked up 7 kills. So it wasn't just a walk in and mop up everybody else that was already dead. They had to really fight for it. They had to get a lot done there. And a slow round for some of the other teams that we were a little bit more high on earlier. Wolfpack Arctic only coming in 12th in that round. So let's see where everything shakes up. After day 1, we have in first place Wolfpack Arctic, 57 placement points, 61 kills. Not too shabby, Axeltoss.
Yeah, that's huge. Staying right around double second place, which is a fair and a fine place to be. But as we were talking about the kills, that's the points. That's how you rack up those points. 61, absolutely huge numbers today from Wolfpack Arctic. I love how close it is though from there. Look at that, 59, 59, 58, 56, 56, 54, 52, 49, 47, 45. All super close.
Within like 10 points.
Onward.
The entirety of second to 10th is it's 11 or 12 point difference. Americans math, sorry. 59 to 47. Yeah, so you have such a tight range for everybody else, but then Wolfpack Arctic is like they're just way up on the mountain somewhere, you know. They're just
there's like double inspiration though from these teams that are locked up in second place and onward. Number one, they have a lot of motivation to defeat the teams around them who are close in the standings. So if one of these teams who are around 59, 58, 56 really focus on, separating themselves from that pack, then they can make Wolfpack Arctic a little bit closer, right? So it becomes a second motivation there where, hey, they might be able to break away from this group, but also there's a chance they can catch Wolfpack Arctic in first place. But yeah, that's a crazy point total. Huge day for Wolfpack Arctic. They're the MVP. They're the most valuable team. They had a great day today, and they're going to try to keep it going into tomorrow.
Yeah,
Yeah, so that does it for us here. But that's just for APAC South. So we're going to finish this tomorrow at the same time. We'll play through another 8 rounds for APAC South. But don't go anywhere, guys, because coming up next, we're going to be doing more GLL Spring Masters. We'll be going through, I believe we're going to be doing the EU and then the NA region just after this. So we're going to swap everything out. I believe the start time is still set for a little bit. So go get yourself a breakfast if you're in America with us. Go get yourself a little evening supper, perhaps, if you're in Europe. And if you're somewhere else, I don't know what time it is. So have a great night, and we will see you next time. That's all for us here. I'm Nathanius. We've been joined by Axel Toss. We'll see you guys tomorrow for the conclusion of APAC South.